Working on my hobby stuff, as you guys know I do, and decided to do this video. So I'm working on like 5 things at the same time, which is probably not great, because then do you ever really get anything done that way, you know? But Friday, my wife's early day. She gets off early today. And let's see if I can send a message to my brother. Man, I've been playing a lot, dude. Like the other day, I can tell this is a game for me because it has the building elements of like Conan and Minecraft. And one of the things that I absolutely love to do is just like build stuff. And then a lot of times I will build stuff, and then for no good reason, I'll be wandering around the world and I'll find some other place and I'll be like, oh man, this would be like the best place to build a base. At which point, I'll get rid of my old base and start the new base, even though you can kind of have two bases. Okay, what just happened there? Okay, hold on now. I'm working on my computer. God only knows what this old thing's doing. I believe it runs on a Dorito. So, yeah, send my brother a message, see if he's how he's feeling today, what he is up to, etc. I have found this game that's like 100% online. You know what I mean? And it's naval battles, but set in the like 3rd century BC, that era, and I guess you could buy the miniatures direct from the people or something like that, but I really don't know. Like for me, I just got the STLs. Hey, Leth. I got the STLs in the rule book and did a couple of prints. And created basically, I think, 3 armies. Because this game is kind of a skirmish game where you outfit each of your ships and you fight with, around a couple, like maybe 4 or 5 ships max. You know what I mean? So it's not the kind of game where you're going to have like a whole ton of stuff. So anyway, it's at 1/300 scale, which is pretty good. It means that the actual big warships are like 5 inches long. And here is a onager or, catapult or whatever you want to call it. I mean, a lot of the pieces like that square, they're made to actually just slot in. So, and then you have these flags which you paint different colors. Oh, cool. And you can use the flags to denote the um, quality of the crew of the ship. And they're made to just basically kind of slot in. I mean, it's not perfect, but yeah, it'll work. So, yeah. And then, of course, you can decide whether you want to put a commander, an officer, whatever. You can, depending on your army, because different armies have different whatevers. I mean, if you're playing the Macedonians or some of the other Greeks, you can put a whole block of hoplites on your ship, which is basically letting your opponent know that you're ready for boarding actions. Hoplites are mostly a good defensive thing. They do have pirates in this game. I don't know the French name for them, but they're the guys that actually specialize in boarding enemy ships, right? And then, of course, regardless of what you have for crew, I mean, those are all extras because the assumption in the game is if someone tries to board you, um, you can uh, the oarman will come up,
Hello.
hey man, and fight to defend the ship. And I mean, in this time, especially amongst the Hellenistic states, you didn't have a lot of slaves chained to oars kind of shit. So the guys who were actually the oarmen of the ship, they also were responsible for defending it from enemy attack. And then on even beyond that, the goal wasn't necessarily to sink an enemy ship. I mean, of course, sinking an enemy ship is really cool, but what would be extra cool is if you could sink the enemy ship, but save the big ram on the front of the ship. Because I guess the brass was worth a lot of money. So, yeah. But mark the identities of all the ships with for the Macedonians, it's weird. It's the tell that tells you which one's a Macedonian ship. But for all the other Hellenistic states, it's the front of the ship. Like the Athenian ships all have a prow eagle, or not eagle, owl, because of their devotion to Athena. And then the Cretan ships all have the bull, because I guess of the story of the Minotaur.
Neat.
So, you know, I mean, this is a completely unpainted ship, and you can see I put some hoplites. See those indented squares? You can just pop in whatever you want to modify the ship. And then even on the back, the way it's designed, if you want to have a captain's position, it's designed to fit on there, boom, like that, and it will stay on. You know what I mean? There we are. Because the bottom of the ship is designed to allow you to have that raised captain's tower. And then, of course, I mean, there are towers. Like, here's a tower full of archers that you could put on your ship. Okay, is that going to fit in there? Yeah, because it's close to the cell. But so you've got, an elevated unit of toxolate, um, you know, launching arrows at any enemy ships in any direction. That's kind of cool. And then, of course, for extra points, you can put 4 cells on it, which make it a little faster, a little bit more maneuverable. And then you've got these smaller ships.
Can you have the ancient flamethrowers?
No, because this isn't that era yet.
When did
That
they
was
get made?
mostly the Byzantines.
Actually, the Byzantines got it from earlier race, I think, earlier group.
Yeah,
Oh,
you're
I thought the
probably
Greeks
right.
made it. I thought the Greeks made it.
Well, that's probably what's called Greek fire.
Yeah.
But I know that there were a lot of Byzantine ships that were designed with fire pumps on them. And they were incredibly effective in a number of different battles where, like, the Muslim fleet showed up and these Byzantine dromons just kind of cruised out and started burning everything. And according to the legends, which may or may not be true, the fire actually burned on top of the water, which sucked. But yeah, one of the Athenian ships, I decided to put a row of shields on it, which it costs points to do that, but it gives you a little bit more protection from archers. So, but yeah, this is like a sprue of hoplites. And you just find the right square that has, for hoplites, it's 9. And then you have to clip those guys out carefully. Clip those guys out and glue them down and shit. It's not as easy as something like this, where the only pieces that are even a little bit difficult are probably the dorsal guns on top. But now this is an Imperial, I forget which class battleship. And it's got its dorsal lance batteries, which are automatically badass because, they're basically giant lasers. It's got bombards, so big freaking guns shooting macro, ballistic shit at you. The whole front is full of lance batteries and stuff. And then it's got 4 fighter bays that can launch fighters or bombers. So it's kind of like an aircraft carrier, really, more than an actual battleship, because so much of the ship is devoted to carrying the fighters. The negative with these guys is they're very not maneuverable in the game. It's like the smaller ships have a special maneuver they can pull called come to a new heading, which allows them to kind of change. It's like you got to make a leadership check or whatever, but if you succeed, your ship can come to a new heading, right? These guys cannot come to a new heading ever because they're just too big, too slow. Hush, hush, darling. Hush, hush. Don't tell me cause it hurts. Yeah, that's right. Sing a little bit old school. Who is it?
forgot who sung that. It's been a while since
It's the blonde girl that did Holler Back Girl.
Hmm.
You know, few times been around that track. Cause ain't no holler back girl. Ain't no holler back girl. I'm not sure what a holler back girl is.
I
Because
don't know.
I'm old. And I'm like, the fuck is a holler back girl? So what you been doing since the last time we talked? It's been a few days.
Mostly just playing Vintage Story or a little bit of War Thunder because they added some new stuff in that.
To what?
War Thunder, they've added new aircraft and vehicles.
Nice.
Weird AA that where you get two vehicles instead of one because it's like a radar, then the missiles, and you take control of both of them somehow. But the aircraft is more important because they added a really cool Japanese aircraft called the Viper Zero, made by Mitsubishi.
Well, Mitsubishi made most of the Zeros, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. And here's the thing: it's basically an F-16 but with a bigger wing.
So,
Well, some differences, other differences. But, if you looked at them, you'd be like, that's just an F-16 with bigger wings.
yeah, I'm realizing it's going to be an easy fix, but I'm realizing I screwed up. I made an STL and I put the body of a couple of large monsters on it, but I didn't double check. And it turns out that I printed the bodies, which looked complete, but there's like 9 arms for each of them. Now, the good news is printing these would be super easy because, they're not big. So, I mean, we're talking about it might take an hour. But because they're not big, I don't want to waste a whole build plate just printing out one thing. Obviously, I'm going to have to figure out what else to print. And I don't know. I mean, I've got about 2.5 liters of resin. Hey, Hungar. But I'm kind of at that point where it's like, I think I've printed everything I could possibly print. What color do you think this battleship should be, Leth?
Let me see it. Black and red.
Black and red. All right.
Like
Perhaps
almost purely black with like red highlights, maybe.
So perhaps they're flirting with turning to corn. You know what I mean?
Nope,
Blood for the blood god.
Yeah, okay.
You don't know what I mean.
Yeah, I'm not much on the Warhammer lore.
Corn is a funny name for a funny god, but it's spelled different, so it's not corn. And corn is the god of bloodshed. So, like, on ancient Earth, corn would have been Ares, Moloch, Baal, any god that demanded the shedding of blood. So basically, half of the Aztec gods, etc.
Yeah.
Black and gold,
Could work.
See, I would have went with the Wiz Khalifa song and went black and yellow. Black and yellow, black and yellow. Anyway, never mind. On the streets, Black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow. Anyway, I like the actual parody of that song, "Mining Diamonds," better than the original song.
Sounds like a Minecraft
It
parody
was there was that period about 5-10 years ago.
where everybody was thinking Minecraft parody.
Yeah, when everybody was making like Minecraft songs,
Yep.
but some of them would actually be based on, actual rock songs.
Yeah.
So, so you would have like um black. Well, I've got 3 to paint, Nerdy Ogre, so your suggestion may happen after all. Oops, sorry. Hold on, Hungar.
Yeah, didn't you see where I said, nah, man, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow?
Yeah, and
Hell
that's
on Black Attack.
You know what?
see, I didn't see it, but you and me think too much alike, I think.
Everything I do it big, black and yellow, black and yellow.
I've never understood his popularity at all.
No, I'd never heard of it.
Who, Wiz Khalifa?
Well, that name, but that song, no.
So,
Yeah, that's the thing. You hear his name because like everyone always talks about Wiz Khalifa and their songs. But if you actually listen to Wiz Khalifa, you're like, what the fuck is so special about this guy? I mean,
Yeah.
he had the one song that was worth a shit, Black and Yellow.
get high. I just have fun.
Yeah, he's just not
Yeah.
he's just not shit really. But somehow,
He's popular because of his weed brand.
yeah, so
Because I guess he has his own type of marijuanas.
well, I mean, maybe they just ain't got anything else to be like happy about in Pittsburgh.
And you know how people love marijuana.
So, because that's where he's from, The whole-
So for some
whole-
reason, your icon looks like American History X.
What icon? Oh, Kane? A
Yeah,
little bit, don't it? Like
Yeah,
at
look-
any minute, he's going to run out and shoot a couple of black guys and then curb stomp one and go to prison
yeah.
and then
Oh,
be too hardcore for the freaking Aryan
No,
Brotherhood guys in prison.
I'm just going to take over Africa for Tiberium. That's all.
And then, anyway, bad things happen. Hey, man, you need that Tiberium. It's like the energy source, I guess. I understand that for game purposes it was important, but for like reality, it's like, oh, you've got Tiberium, nice. We still got nukes.
I'm still out looking for that Wonderflomium.
No, you need to get some of that unattainium.
Am I the asshole for rooting for the humans in Avatar?
No, I
No.
root for the humans too. Fuck those cat people.
Am I the asshole for rooting for the Empire in Star Wars?
A little bit, but
Maybe a
it's
little on that one.
understandable.
Hey, everything was nice on Imperial planets.
Were they?
Yeah, as long as you didn't F with the Empire, you were good. Pay your taxes. They didn't mess with you. That was the whole thing.
What about all the crime in the Outer Rim?
The Outer Rim is not part of the Empire.
The Outer Rim's the Outer Rim. That's why scumbags like Han Solo hang out there and shit.
Actually, they were still technically part of the Empire.
Yeah,
They
okay.
just were
Okay.
the
Technically,
furthest reaches of it.
but I mean, the Outer Rim is so big and distant and unimportant that
Yeah, it's like technically Chicago's still part of America, but is it?
Oh, they're getting ready to get F'd in the A over there. So good luck.
So is it going to be as bad as New York now, or worse?
I think I don't know. I think it'll be either the same as New York or worse. Because their mayor's an idiot. He's got like an 8% approval rating. His own people are calling him an asshole. Like right to his face, too. They're not even being like
Quiet about it. Let's just like
quiet
openly.
about it. They're going to City Hall and being like, you are a piece of shit. We literally hate you. And the main thing is because he's drawn his line in the sand, talking about how
I'll be right back.
Trump is a terrorist and he won't negotiate with terrorists, blah, blah, blah. And meanwhile, the people of Chicago are still getting F'd in the A by, crime and all this shit. And they're like, there's a little bit, I mean, people don't want to say it because, they don't want to offend people. But there's a little bit of, why are you taking the money that you used to give to us and giving to them? There's a little bit of that in there too, because the black community used to be the minority community that got most of the benefits. And all of a sudden, they're not getting any benefits. And the illegals are getting the benefits. So the blacks are pissed off.
I saw the funniest meme the other day. It was a clapback on Twitter. Omar's like, with all the things that are happening, there's a rage filling my body. And then underneath, some woman wrote, when did you start calling your brother Rage?
Oh, yeah, Ilhan.
Yeah.
They need to send her ass back to Somalia.
Yeah.
She lied to get the passport over here. What was funny is the one black congresswoman, I think it was Crockett or something, talking shit about visas and stuff like that, and saying like how Melania Trump shouldn't have ever got a H-1C visa or whatever. And it's like, wait a minute, what? Because they're like, that's supposed to be for scientists and stuff. And it's like, I don't recall her being a scientist. And it's like, yeah, but she was blowing the, richest.
Hey, she is a scientist. She has a PhD in trichology.
Well, that's all of us. But, I mean, I was going to be crude and say she was kind of playing with
I'm back.
one of the richest businessmen in New York's ding dong. And that'll get you your papers pretty quick,
Really? Is that all I have to do? Damn.
That's all you got to do is, what's his name? Swalwell, Buttigieg.
But
They're all options for you because I'm pretty sure Buttigieg is into the whole, bear.
now I'm gonna get myself some Gilf Pelosi. That's what I'm gonna do.
Oh my goodness, right?
I'm going for the Maxine Waters.
Oh
Ooh. No, I want to. Who's the one that's crazy as fuck?
Oh,
AOC?
Well, no, okay, that's the left's crazy as fuck. The right crazy as fuck. Miriam something or other.
are you talking about from Georgia?
The blonde one that's always like.
Yes,
saying
you are. L. What they call her is something L.
She's like the stupidest bitch I've ever seen in my life. She's so
but
dumb.
you know what they say about crazy chicks? Grippy socks equal grippy box.
Well, there is that, and that's lovely. Thank you. I'm so glad I woke up early for this. Hunger.
Grippy socks.
Hunger.
Oh, I get it because when you go to a mental ward, they give you the grippy socks.
Yeah.
Okay, it took me a second. I was like, what the hell does that even mean?
Yeah, I'm still in the what the hell does that even mean? And I'd like to not figure it out. Thank you.
Well, when you go to the hospital, they take.
See, I just said I don't want to figure it out, and here he is figuring it out for me.
No, I'm not figuring it out. They give you those socks that have the rubber grips on the feet on the bottom.
Yeah, I get that now. I just
I
didn't
guess
know.
because you're not supposed to have like shoestrings or something. I don't know.
Well, you're not allowed to slide on the floor because that might be fun, and there is no fun at the mental ward.
Well, I mean, yeah, duh.
Unless you're Hungar, who puts the fun in dysfunctional.
Fun and dysfunctional and the romance and necromance.
Wow.
Wow. All right.
Wow.
I'm just like,
Wow. And he puts the mine in minority. So there we are.
I'm like,
That's right.
I don't even know this guy.
I don't even know these assholes.
Yeah, right.
It's like, what's the only warm organ inside of a dead woman? Mine.
I'm sure that everything you just said
Gotta
is
go.
illegal. You know?
Wow.
Like it's all illegal. Everything you just said is illegal.
See, I
Yeah.
come in a good mood, and Vic calls me Grumpy Bear. How am I supposed to be in a good mood if people are calling me Grumpy? It's the Oscar the Grouch thing, right? Remember Dave Chappelle's whole thing about you're just a grouch, Oscar. What if he was a really nice guy before they all called him a grouch? Motherfucker lives in a trash can. Come on. You know?
Yeah, I mean, you got to cut him a break, right?
Hmm.
It's like he lives in a trash can. He's just trying to do the best he could. You don't know his story. Maybe his wife cheated on him and left him, took all the kids, kicked him out of his house. He still got to pay the house note on that shit.
Yep.
You know, like he's just doing the best he can because, you know, life comes at you pretty fast sometimes.
He's working 70
Stop and
hours.
look around. It might just pass you by.
Exactly so. And yeah, Hungar, if you don't look around sometimes, it might
But
just
also,
pass.
in other words of wisdom from Gen X, sometimes you just got to say, what the fuck?
That's true too. I mean that's definitely true. Sometimes,
Okay, we all know the Barney Miller show, right? With all the
Yep.
guys. Yeah, okay. Do you realize that some of us Gen Xers are as old as Fish was?
Yeah, okay, I get it. Some of us are as old as Abe Vigoda when he was playing Fish on Barney Miller. And if we're lucky,
He was
we'll get
my
to live to the
favorite
nice,
character.
right old age that Abe Vigoda got to live to. But we probably won't because we are the first real generation fucking filled to the brim with processed food and bullshit, right?
Abe Vigoda was cool. Fish was
He
cool.
was.
he
But
was
we're
just,
getting old.
he was just that jaded cop that's seen everything, and he's just putting in his last few years so he can retire to Florida.
Motherfucker was 94 when he died.
Hey, Bubba.
Now, he was born in 21. Barney Miller's what, 81?
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
So he was 60 when he was doing that show. No, sorry, 75 was when Barney Miller started. It ended in 82.
And and wasn't the guy who did Barney Miller the same guy that was the teacher in Welcome Back, Kotter?
No, that's not the same actor.
Oh,
That's
okay.
you're thinking of Gabe Kaplan and
It's the mustache got me confused.
yeah, well, it was the 70s, man. Hal Linden was Barney Miller.
Yeah,
Up your nose with a rubber hose.
yeah. That's
Ooh,
when John
ooh,
Travolta showed the world his acting skills.
Best
No,
acting he ever did. Best acting he ever did in his entire fucking career. Whoa. Wait.
Yeah.
You know, like Jesus Christ.
Pulp Fiction would be up there too.
No, he does not act well in Pulp Fiction. He just has an amazing script wrapped around him in Pulp Fiction.
Exactly.
Probably-
That's all an actor needs.
You ever seen the movie Phenomena that he did?
Yeah.
That is actually good acting by
I love
him.
that movie.
Yeah, he gets a tumor and he thinks that,
Aliens gave him heightened intelligence. Yeah.
and it turns out it's a tumor.
I was so fucking sad when I found out it was a tumor. I'm like, no, this movie was amazing up until the tumor. You know, like, what are you doing?
What are you doing? Giving
That's
my
Mrs.
boy a tumor.
Mrs. Kevin Bacon played the girl in that.
Go,
Yeah.
go get George and tell him to learn Portugal on the way over.
Yeah. He was good in Michael, too.
Yeah, I didn't like that movie so much, but yeah.
Yeah, he just kind of showed up to eat a lot of sweets and sleep with a few chicks and fight a bull.
Yeah, for me, angel movies begin and end with prophecy.
Prophecy is really good, I mean, in spite of the fact that so much of it's based on Gnosticism,
Well, yeah, but that's the
it's
point.
still really good.
We got to see that movie at a screening. Remember that?
Yeah, because the guys at the Cosima Comics gave Hungar and I free tickets.
Nice.
And
See
they gave
the-
us
like a
temporary-
private screening.
They gave us the temporary tattoos of the angel symbols, and I was bald, so I put mine on my forehead.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, you got the ticket to go see the movie, and then those fake tattoos that you kind of press on and whatever.
Come on, though. Come on. This is probably the best fucking line in the entire movie. I'm an angel. I kill firstborns while their mamas watch. I
Yeah.
turn cities into salt. I even, when I feel like it, rip the souls from little girls. From now till kingdom come, the only thing you can count on in your existence is never understanding why. It's like that is old school fucking Old Testament angelic logic. You know what I'm saying?
And it's walking.
It was
Well,
so good.
He was good in that. What's his name? The red-haired guy that was in like Memphis
Eric
Belle and
Stoltz.
Pulp Fiction and
Stoltz.
shit. He was good too.
Yeah.
As Simon.
As Simon, he was really good. I had a friend who would sometimes sit on a chair.
But the best of all, come on. We already know who was the best of all in the movie.
Lucifer.
Yeah, Viggo Mortensen.
I'll lay you out. and
Who
fill your
knew
mouth
that
with your mother's
Aragorn
cookies.
Played
What?
the devil. You know?
Yeah, study your math, kids.
he's-
Keys the universe.
Yeah, yeah.
Ah.
Keys the universe.
I think one of the best devils was
The one woman asked Lucifer, "Are you God?" And he's like, "No, God loves you. I do not love
I
you."
do not. I can lay you out and fill your mouth with your mother's feces, or we can talk.
Or we can talk. Yeah, he's just so like.
one of the
Go ahead.
best devils was the guy who played the devil in Constantine.
Well, that guy is just creepy in every single movie he's ever
Showed
been.
up in a white suit with the tar dripping off of his.
You think Tar? I went the other way with that.
Yeah, shit.
Yeah, feces dripping off of him.
I think
Covered in
it's.
crazy tattoos all the way up to his neck in a white suit, barefoot.
I went further than you. I thought it was the black essence of evil souls.
I've never seen Constantine. That's the problem.
That is a problem.
Well, no, just because I love John Constantine. The Books of Magic is one of my favorite miniseries they ever did at DC. And the idea of whoa, Keanu Reeves.
He
I
does
could
okay.
love it. But that's what everybody keeps telling me. They say he does a good job, so I got to check it out.
Yeah, at some point, I mean, when you're bored sitting at the house and you're just like, I feel like watching something. That's not a bad choice. You
One
know?
of the best lines is like, "I don't believe in the devil." He's like, "Why not? He believes in you."
Yeah, that's the woman who's the token skeptic. And
God, I got to watch Prophecy again. I haven't seen. I'm just reading the quotes, and I'm like, Jesus Christ!
there was
This
some
war is mine. Your war is arrogance. That makes it evil. That's mine. Like,
Yeah.
come on, fuck. You know.
That's mine. Yeah,
Oh.
exactly. That was the thing because he went too far, you know?
Everybody's got that little divot under their nose, on their lip.
Yeah. You know where you got that? When you were a little kid, I put my finger there and said, "Shh." It's such a fucking.
Yeah, I
good
told
thing.
you a secret. And then
Told
I
you a
said,
secret. Yeah. What's that? Do you believe you're part of God's plan? That's a complicated question. No, it isn't. Boom. You know, it's a well-written movie. It's well directed. It's well acted. It's well shot. Like, it's a good fucking movie.
yeah,
It should have been way bigger than it was.
now that you mention it, like, there was a lot of talent in that movie, mostly on the bad guy side.
Yeah.
Between Christopher Walken and then this Spanish guy who finally died. That guy's been in a ton of things. And then the one girl who was in Pulp Fiction and other things. And
what's it? Christopher Plummer's daughter.
yeah, I mean,
Amanda Plummer.
yeah, there was like a lot of talent actually.
And what's her name is actually the female star, the teacher. What the fuck is that actress's name? Hang on. Virginia Madsen, fucking Princess Irulan. She's really good in it. But I gotta say, the star, Elias Koteas, fellow Montrealer, amazing actor. He's one of my favorite characters in Some Kind of Wonderful. He plays the skinhead. When he shows him the picture of the skeleton chick, he goes, I drew a picture of what my girlfriend would look like with no skin.
Who was he in The Prophecy?
In The Prophecy, he's the lead. He's Thomas. He's Thomas Daggett. The
cop.
He played. He also played Casey Jones in the first Ninja Turtles movie.
Yeah, he was. His story is really interesting too, because the premise is how people lose their faith. Yep. And his issue was not that he didn't know enough, but that he knew too much.
Exactly.
And so he believed in God and stuff. He just wasn't really sure what the F was going on.
Yep.
And that makes him a very interesting character, you know.
I'm getting ready to run a Buffy the Vampire campaign for four chicks. You know, basically it's gonna be Dungeon Damsel, my friend April, my friend Jess, and Nerds Nerd. And I'm gonna be leaning heavily into Gnosticism for this campaign.
James's wife played in a Buffyverse game, a 920 Buffyverse game, for about 7 or 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, they were using it was the Buffyverse universe, obviously, but they're using D20 Modern.
Weird. You got the Buffy game, which is so fucking good.
I don't know if they knew back then that the Buffy game existed or if it existed.
It's a great
D20
game.
Modern did, and so they played this whole game where they were hunters or whatever. One of them eventually became a vampire. No,
James. They're high school kids in this campaign.
Right. Nice.
And none of them are special. None of them is the Slayer. None of them is starting with as a witch. None of them is starting as a secret government robot person. None of that. They're just normal fucking high school kids. And we'll see where it goes.
They're all the one dude that used to simp around hoping that one of the girls.
Xander.
Yeah, Xander. It's like the whole campaign is just Xander trying to get Willow and then Willow turning out to be a lesbian.
You know what's really funny though?
Which is okay, because between Charisma, what's her name, and Willow,
Charisma Carpenter and Sarah Michelle Gellar.
I mean, I know who I would rather be with. I'd take
Willow.
Charisma Carpenter all day.
Oh no, Willow. Oh my God, all day, every day, Willow was like me. All my social circle were like fucking Willow, and I'm rewatching the first season right now, and it's like the way they shoot her, the way she looks at Xander or reacts to Xander, there was something supposed to be there. They were playing something up, and then they just dropped it and moved on. You know what I mean? But you can see like it's so evident. Well, that's what happens. They change ideas. They go different directions, and we'll never know why.
Hello, William
Silva. How are you, my good man? Yeah. I have to admit that I, not purposely for the most part, but just whatever, watched quite a bit of Buffy growing up. When it was on TV.
Too. I watched Buffy, I watched Angel. I love that shit.
Now, Angel, see, Buffy, I was always like, okay, this is kind of cool, whatever. I like some of the characters. I like the guy whose whole job was to watch after her.
The Watcher.
Yeah. But when they broke off and it was Angel, oh my God. And that first couple episodes or seasons of Angel were just kick ass. He had the like alcoholic Irish demon.
Yeah, who sadly died. The actor died.
Yeah.
He was from Roseanne. He was on Roseanne. He played the the
He played
boyfriend.
one of the boyfriends.
Yeah, he played one of the boyfriends. Sadly, he died. Real shame. Irish guy, really good actor too, but he was an alcoholic and depressed.
I
Not
like
a good combination. But
And then there was the demon Lorne, the guy who played the singing demon, the lounge lizard demon. And that guy died because he had rotted teeth, and it caused an infection in his heart, and he died of a massive coronary.
that happens.
Yep.
Yeah, if you don't.
Here's
take
the thing,
care of
though.
your
At
teeth,
what
people
point in
don't
time?
understand.
But how can you live to the point where you're in that much pain in your mouth from the abscesses that you don't fucking go get something done about it? You know what I mean?
Drugs and alcohol?
Must be.
I mean, I can't imagine, but I'm trying to guess here. You know, it's like.
Also, for us, watching Angel Man was when Wolfram and Hart, the law agency, and then we realized the name is Wolf, Ram and Hart. It was like, oh, that was so fucking cool, you know?
Which are the three main familiars for witches. You know what I mean? That was a cool, super cool thing there. Angel was just a superior show, I think, to Buffy. Maybe it's because Angel took itself more serious.
It was darker. It was more.
It is a lot darker. Like, one of my favorite episodes is like episode 3, season 1, where there's the demon that keeps picking women up in bars and killing them because that's just what it does. And he has to hunt it down. And plus, the soundtrack for that whole episode was by a band called Vast, and I'm a huge fan. Which Vast is visual, audio, sensory theater.
Nice.
But yeah, so they do like the one song I love so much. I what's it called? I didn't mean to hurt you, baby. I didn't mean to hurt you. Didn't mean to hurt you, but you're pretty when you cry. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah.
I joined a Facebook group that's perfect for you, Hungar.
What's that?
It's called That's Fucked Up. I Laughed, but That's Fucked Up. And it's all like the dankest fucking memes you could see, including this one that killed me when I read it because I was just like, are you fucking kidding me? But it's really good. It says, Hansel and Gretel ends with 2 Germans pushing someone into an oven.
Yep.
And then someone replied, well, yeah, but the witch deserved it. She was big-nosed, curly-haired, and was hoarding all of the treats for her greedy self.
I've seen that meme.
Oh my God, too. You know, as soon as you said that, I started thinking, and the witch with the big crooked bent nose, and it was like, talk about foreshadowing.
Oh, Jesus Christ. So the chick in the pool in this, okay. White chick with a black guy. What's your name? It's Snow. Ha 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 ha. What's so funny, lady? When I get back to the UK, I can tell my husband that I had 14 inches of snow in Jamaica. Jesus, this is right up your fucking alleyway, Hungar.
Hey, speaking of, another guy from your neck of the woods.
Who that?
Snow.
Oh, Informa.
And then that's all you can understand, really.
Here you go. UK versus US language distances. United States, fries. UK, chips. United States, airplane. UK, aeroplane. US, subway. UK, underground. US, jail. UK, Australia.
Hey, it's funny because it's true.
What's up, doppelganger?
Historical doppelganger drops in. Early teenage years. Not sure if you preferred Willow or Buffy. See, I'm sure, but it comes to personal taste in my regards. And my personal preference has always traditionally been for dark-haired women. So
Asia is your favoriteest place in the world.
So no, actually, Latinas. So Charisma Carpenter is going to win me over every time. You know, long dark hair, hot.
No, I get that, and I tend to normally go for blondes, but just Willow was the kind of chick you're like, you know what, she'd be way more fun to hang out with, you know what I mean, than the other two.
Willow is the nerd fantasy.
Yep.
Because she strikes you as one, she's pretty hot. I mean, it's not like she's a 10 out of 10 or anything, but she's pretty hot.
She's high mid.
She's definitely high mid, but she comes off as the kind of girl that would be just cute to hang around. She's just kawaii, as the Japanese would say. She comes off as like she would play D&D with you and be interested in your level 17 paladin. And Charisma Carpenter definitely did not come off as that kind of girl. She was more of the, you play role-playing games? Ooh, what's wrong with you? And I think that for a lot of nerdy guys that were watching the Buffy movie, waiting for something to happen. Yeah, I know that film.
Well, Willow went from high mid to like high when she played the crazy chick in American Pie.
No, she was just the same person.
Exactly. But in that movie, she talked about sticking a flute up her snatch.
No. Say my name. What? Say my name, bitch. Come on.
Yeah, in that movie, she was a little pent up. That's what happens when a nerdy, like, very introverted girl watches way too much porn and then finally gets with a dude. And instead of just like normal whatever, it's like gonna be weird. It's gonna be weird. But hey, that's okay. I mean, if that's
Jesus Christ, Hungar. I've got an image. I don't know if I can share it here because it's pretty rude.
Send it to my Discord.
I just sent you the link for the group to Discord. I'm gonna send the image to you because it's rude, but it's Hungar level humor. That's for fucking sure.
I like my humor like I like my coffee without some dude's dick in it.
What the fuck is
it's like what?
Why are we friends?
Because I am awesome.
I know I'm friends.
You keep telling me, but
no choice.
There you go. Look at your Discord. Tell me if that would be appropriate for James's broadcast. It would not.
Well, I'm back.
I have no choice. My mom was very, very assertive in that me and Hungar had to be friends. And
because it's freaking awesome.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But I'm like, I don't think it would be good for James's thing.
Oh, no. Don't worry. I'll see it because he'll copy it and send it on his phone to me or something. We've got a group. Okay, we've got the game group, but apparently some of the people in the game group are a little bit more sensitive than other people in the game group. So we created an entirely different chat for our game group just for the memes. And then we didn't let any of the women or liberals in that group because everything that gets posted there would just piss them off. And I mean, that's not our goal. So
this fucking group is so dank. So I can only read this one to you because I can't show you because it's got a picture of the evil mustache model from Germany. But it's basically has an Insta chick on it. It says removes polish with chemicals. Nobody bats an eye. Then there's a picture of the fucking mustache model. It says removes Polish, spelt exactly the same way, with chemicals. Everybody loses their shit.
Yeah.
Fuck. This is dank as fuck.
One of my favorite memes is the cat that's completely white, but it's got the black broom handle. And it's like, I get the feeling the owner of this cat has to keep it locked up because otherwise it'll invade Poland or some shit.
Yeah. The one's got the thing. Okay,
something
I have to
like
share
that,
this one with you because this is fucking funny as fuck. I'm sorry, this is hilarious. You share it with your group at your own risk, but dude, this killed me.
I used to be a member of a Facebook group that was called Dank Memes.
This is dank as fuck, but it's funny.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
I'm waiting.
I'm waiting, says Hungar, who wants the dankness.
All right.
Oh yeah.
I love this.
Yeah, they tried to throw some guy in England into prison over that.
Over that one, really?
Yeah, but he won the case.
I'm glad he did.
Yeah, he won that case, but and he wasn't the guy that even invented it. He was, secondary. Like someone sent it to him and he thought it was funny, so he sent it out. And
Oh fuck!
people lost.
I gotta stop looking at this group. It's getting danker and danker. It's got a pair of feet above a chair, implying what that implies, and they're wearing trans pride socks, and it says was/were.
Oh jeez. Nice.
This is like Fungar, man. Join this group. You'll be bombarding your group with fucking dank shit forever.
But yeah, that's one thing me and my daughter really share in common is our love of dark humor. Like, we used to always try and come up with like the darkest. She's the one that told me the what is it? Dark humor is like food. Not everybody gets it.
I've seen that one too.
And it's got like a picture of Stalin,
Yep.
but yeah.
You'll make me laugh. Go to Gulag.
Yeah. Yeah. She showed me that one too. You make me laugh. Go to Gulag.
Bear's gonna make me go
Stalin's
back.
just smiling and pointing.
Sorry, what? Bear's gonna what?
Make me go back on Facebook.
Dude, this is the dankest of dank.
There's two
It's
things on
insane.
Facebook right now, Hungar. Midgets, for some reason, in bikinis dancing,
Yeah, I get that too.
and dank memes. So I go on Facebook and I find all the dank memes and I post them on, or I post them on YouTube or send them to you. Like one of them that's the craziest one is the people who are cosplaying as Aladdin and the princess, and they got Abu sitting on Aladdin's shoulder, right? And instead of a monkey, it's like a 2-year-old black kid, but it's dressed up like Abu. It's got the little fez and everything.
I said that to you.
And it's like, how in the world did this happen? Like this has got to be Photoshopped because, if you walked into Disney like that, somebody's going to be like, hold on a minute here, You're not allowed to do that. But apparently these people did it. So I don't know. My favorite guy is the guy in all the commercials you see on like YouTube where somebody says something, the guy's like, what in the hell even is that? And the one guy's like, calm down, daddy.
Daddy, chill.
Chill, daddy. Yeah. Like, There he is again. I love that. And they use it for like all these different. It's like the one guy, also from your neck of the woods, that did
Yeah.
the song Baby No Money. And he did the song about how he was broke and shit. Picato, what's up, homeboy?
Yeah,
And-
one brother did beat me last night with George Floyd memes.
Oh, God.
I
Don't
just saw one
forget.
that I think Hungar
Well,
would
I
really
beat
like.
Hunger last night with George. There you go.
Hungar, I just saw one that you'd like. It was basically said, "Modern women, stop sexualizing me," and then right under it, also for $9.99 a month, you can see my asshole on OnlyFans.
Right? It's
Exactly.
like pick a lane, man. Are we supposed to stop sexualizing you, or do you want a bunch of simps to send you money? I mean,
So I said this years ago, and my friends didn't listen to me, and now they're finally getting the clue with all the thoughtery that's going on. I said, guys, the war of the sexes is over, and we won. How do you know that? Pole dancing is exercise now.
yeah, that's a normal thing that like house moms go out and do.
We won the war of the sexes. Sit back, take a victory lap, fucking drink your fucking champagne, and just watch the show. Quit complaining.
Also, somehow feminism convinced women to like give it up easier. So it's like,
On Instagram, I'm constantly getting a bunch of like messages from e-thoughts. And I always send back to them, I'm like, sorry, I am not interested in internet whores.
Yeah. Dude, I'm just as bad though when I get those text messages, hi, we'd like to talk to you about a new job offering. I'm Sarah. I always send back the message, show me your tits or GTFO. I never hear back.
And I keep getting
awesome tactic.
I keep getting spam messages from they're freaking spammers, and it's like, "Hi, is this Sarah? Or, hi, Sarah. Do you want to go get dinner tonight?" And I'm always like, "I'm sorry, I really can't. My stomach hurts really bad. I was blowing a horse for video, and I swallowed too much. But for $50, I can send it to you." And they never respond back to me.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Windrunner, I will answer your question. I'm in your guild. I figured it out. I joined the guild. I'm in the guild.
What guild?
And I destroyed my house that you built your house next to, and then built a house way up north where nobody knows anything about anything.
Dune.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So
James has got all the awards for being eaten by worms.
I do every achievement that involves being mistreated by a sandworm. I have. It's
like he runs out and dances on drum sand or something.
I finally figured out how to find diamondine dust and shit like that, and instead of fighting all the guards, I just put my best power supply and shield on, and turn the shield on and just run through the camp, grabbing all the treasure, and then run out. I'm not even fighting.
Some fat chick with a doctorate and a PhD posts on Twitter, obese is the N-word for plus size people. First response, someone goes, obese, please.
Obese, please.
They're like, bigger, please.
Oh my God, that's too funny.
Well, it's like our content president. In the middle of an interview, he's like, the N-word, right? And the guy interviewing him looked like he wanted to just like shit.
John Hannity, yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, nuclear.
Nuclear.
and the guy's like, I'm so glad it wasn't the other one. It's like, Jesus Christ. I mean, that guy, we don't deserve him. I mean, just for the humor, the constant like the other day when that reporter asked him about the Middle East, and he's like, you got two people and they've been fighting for a long time, and they don't even fucking know what they're doing. And it's like, wow, did our president just drop the F bomb?
I posted a remix of that on my Twitter.
But here's the thing, he's not wrong.
No, he's not.
That's the thing. But yeah, Nuxanor and Asmongold and those guys, they refer to him as the content president because every day he does something that you can react to. And yeah. But yep. I'll tell you, that guy. He's like, we're going to have peace with Iran. Drops bombs on him, then says, now we can have peace. It's like, what? I don't know if that's how that works, but okay.
Apparently it does.
Apparently it does. Who knew? Who knew that the key to peace was to drop a bunch of baloney on somebody and then tell them to calm down? Okay. But,
Gentlemen, I present you this month's FAP challenge. News alert. Victoria's Secret hires new model who has Down syndrome.
dude, that's a new thing on OnlyFans, is girls using filters to make them look Down syndrome and then like opening OnlyFans. Apparently there's a market for that.
I like the commercials. That girl, I order a margarita, and you don't give me a margarita, so I don't drink a margarita. And then a bunch of guys are like, I order a chocolate milk, and you don't give me a chocolate milk, but my mama said I could have another chocolate milk. It's like, Jesus.
Yeah, that's like the new meta with OnlyFans and shit like that. And if you go on Facebook and look at reels, I guarantee you will see what looks like a Down syndrome girl with like big hooters.
If you're not looking at reels on Instagram, there's something wrong with you, because that's where all the funny racism is.
Right. Well, I mean, what I'm talking about, it's like chicks with Down syndrome, big girls that want you to look at how big they are, and midgets having a dance party.
Premium degeneration for a small monthly subscription fee.
And like in bikinis and stuff.
Oh, Hungar, this is for you, baby. I hooked up with this gorgeous Asian chick, and she kept screaming another guy's name the whole time. Who the fuck is Ron Hole?
Yep.
That's such a Hungar level joke.
But did you die?
But did you die? That's like the German joke. I was dating a German chick, and I told her, to rate me during sex. So I stuck it in her butt, and she kept yelling 9. So
9?
she must have really liked it.
Aww.
Best rating I ever got.
Yeah, best rating I ever got.
It's like the joke I put on in our group chat the other day. It's like, my old lady got mad at me for only lasting 4 strokes, but our buddy James didn't last 1.
Yeah, that was dark because he died, and we knew him.
It's true.
And he had a stroke and died, and you're making jokes.
Is it too soon? It's been like 3 years.
Premium degeneration for a small monthly subscription. Yeah, only Downs. Yeah, it's weird, man. These people.
My fucking OnlyFans about my cats got deleted by OnlyFans for being inappropriate.
Really?
I just put up pictures of them when they were kittens and videos of them running around being kittens, and they fucking deleted it after 2 days. Apparently my pussies weren't good enough, but the fucking Down syndrome pussy, fully acceptable.
Fully acceptable, yeah. Well, that English girl, Bonnie Blue, got kicked off of OnlyFans. Apparently, she was too disgusting to be on OnlyFans.
Is that the one that took like 1,000 guys in one day?
Yeah, she was banging like yeah.
I
So
read somewhere.
there's the fork in the road for you, right? Left path, be the guy who has to fight the gorilla alone. Right path, last in line at Bonnie Blue's party.
I'm
I
I'm
read
facing
somewhere
the gorilla, but I'll just get down on my knees and like cover my head and hope that it after it smacks me around a little bit and asserts dominance, it'll go back to eating leaves or something.
I
And
read
then
somewhere
crawl
that
off.
in that video, you can hear one of the dudes saying, "I don't know about you, man, but it smells. This bitch stinks. I'm ready to get out of here."
Really?
Yeah,
Well, the new drama, which some people say she invented, is that she transitioned when she was 13.
What?
So those 1,000 dudes may have been having intercourse with a dude.
Bunny Blue is trans?
That is the rumor. I mean, they did show a bunch of pictures and stuff, and
you can't follow those rumors because people still believe that Michelle Obama's a chick.
she is.
Are you sure?
I'm willing to bet anything she is. Now,
What?
that chick that plays for the basketball team that we got back from Russia, have you ever heard her speak?
I don't know what you're talking
I mean,
about.
Brittany
Exactly.
Rhymes or whatever her name was.
Yeah,
Brittany
when
Renner
she
or whatever?
speaks, that chick has bass in her voice. She's like, "Well, we played a pretty good game," and I'm like, I know she's
thought you're-
tall, but
I thought you were talking about that Sid the Sloth looking bitch who plays basketball. Angel Reese's Cups or something like that.
yeah, right
No,
now
that's
they're
the
all
one that
mad
fucking
at
got
the
it
one
out for
girl
Caitlin
from
Clark.
Indiana.
Yeah, she
that
got
one's insane.
she oh my god, she looks like Sid the Sloth with a thicker mustache.
What do you call a deaf gynecologist? A
Lucky,
deaf gynecologist, I think.
Lucky.
A lip reader.
A lip reader. Ha!
I thought for a second. I think I got it before he said it.
What do you call a black man in space?
An astronaut, you racist bastard.
That's right.
Yeah, that's
So that joke used to be, what do you call a black guy who flies a plane? And I used to work with this Italian guy, Tony Romano, great guy, but fuck, he was like autistic level racist, right? Like if it was a racist joke he was in, he loved them. And one day I just walked up to him at work and I went, "Hey Tony, what do you call a black guy who flies a plane?" And he looks at me like in a split second, didn't even hesitate, goes, "A bat." I was just like, the pilot, you racist fuck. Shit.
It's like, how is your brain even working? That's where you
But that, like, it was like light speed, man. Like, I barely had the word plane out of my mouth before he's like, "A bat."
There's a video
You know?
of Griner topless, 100%. She's a dude. Ugh.
Who's Griner?
That's the woman that we
Oh,
traded.
the one that got
the
busted
Merchant
in
of
Russia
Death
for weed.
Yeah.
Well,
They're
she's
biting
in
her-
trouble in America for weed.
THC in a what do you, vape pen or whatever it was. Like you're smoking there, bear.
What?
It was the THC little thing you put in a vape pen. What do you call those things?
Yeah,
Cartridges?
yeah, weed. That's what we call that where I'm from. It's just another form of weed.
Well, apparently the Russians released videos of them all making fun of her while she was in prison. Like the
Oh,
guards
whatever.
and the other Russians. And they put her in a male prison. But Russian prisons aren't like our prisons. When you get put in your cell, you never come out of it.
Well, you hear about since they said they're going to start doing tests on Olympians for their gender.
Yeah.
That big boxer dude who won the female gold medal for boxing just went slowly resigned from the boxing world.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean
a
the
shock,
Algerian
eh?
woman.
Yeah.
My favorite is it will always be from that Olympics, the Turkish guy.
You know,
Oh,
I hate to
or
say
see?
this.
The Turkish guy in the like marksmanship part of the
Yeah,
competition.
he was
Yeah, I know what
divorced and
yeah.
he took up shooting and he was like excellent at it with open sights and stuff.
I'm
So
telling you,
Yeah.
they got to make a fucking movie like a John Wick where someone kills his cat. 'Cause there's
Yeah,
always pictures
dude
of him
just
with his
goes
cat.
nuts.
So like just have him just walking around with a cigarette in his mouth. He wanted to have a cigarette when he was shooting, and they wouldn't let him because of the no smoking. So apparently, when he walked off after fucking being an amazing shot, the first thing he did was walk up to one of the Olympic assistants and went, "Where can I go have a cigarette?" Like fuck, that's a bad.
Now, the craziest shit that happened in the Olympics was the French pole vaulter, dude.
What happened to him? What Paul
He made
went
it
with
over
that?
the bar, but his humongous junk knocked the bar down.
No.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's like the best and worst thing that ever happened to the dude.
He was so close to a gold medal, but his junk was so big that it knocked the bar down when he was, because you know how they turn over as they're going over the bar? Apparently his tallywhacker was so big that it knocked the bar off. Which
that's probably
Hungar's
for
right.
popping all that
That's,
free Viagra they had in the Olympic Village.
well, I don't know. He wasn't erect. He just, was one of those guys.
I'm joking, James. I'm joking.
Oh,
Bubba
yeah, yeah.
Bubba seen it. It was hilarious. That's right, Bubba.
Yeah, dude, like, it's like, so he doesn't get a medal, but he showed off his humongous, meat and two veg on national TV, which means
Yeah,
when he
wow.
got back home to France, he probably was a very popular guy.
Oh, dude, the Olympic Village. Have you ever read the statistics on the amount of condoms they order every time there's an Olympics for the Olympic Village? Because
Yeah.
these are a bunch of high octane, peak performing humans in their sexual prime, all living in the same space together. There's an
stressed out.
awful lot of banging going on at the Olympic Village between really, really, really athletic people.
Yeah. And they're all stressed out, so a little bit of stress relief, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, it's breakfast time, guys.
Well,
yeah.
you go eat your breakfast there, Hungar, and check out that group and share with me your favorite ones you find.
Things
I've
are pretty busy
I've
here.
already,
I gotta go too.
I've already applied. I'm waiting
Nice.
to
I'll
approve.
see ya.
Later, left.
So yeah, it turns out that for whatever reason, I guess just pure awesomeness, Reaper Miniatures has a Dralicite and a Yazarian miniature. Which, no?
I
You're just still looking at those memes.
I can't
Like-
stop, dude. I got it. Okay, I'm turning it off. There we go.
See, we got our Yazarian.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
then right here, of course, you've got your friendly Dralicite engineer. He's just out there doing his thing,
Nice.
being an engineer, as you do, because the engineering PSA was actually good. I think is it PSA? Primary
public-
skill.
Public service announcement.
Yeah, but I think in Star Frontiers it was primary skill.
I
something.
wouldn't know.
And you could pick between like engineer, science, military, and space. And then within that one skill tree, there were specializations. So if you picked engineer, you could like go heavy into roboticist or engine, like ship repair or something like that. Bender becomes a Fimbot, yeah. Yeah, Bender will always be the glue that held that series together.
Oh yeah. Don't do it. You have so much to live for. Do a flip.
Do a flip. It's like He loves mom.
What happened to doctors? 1619, badass bird mask, pimp came, strong phallic symbolism in both cane and mask, prescribed you cocaine for the ghosts in your blood, became a goth icon. 2019, lame lab coat, limp steth ear thingy, and scared of apples.
Scared of All right.
I just like the idea prescribed you cocaine for the ghosts in your blood.
Well, I don't know when exactly it was, but it is true that the medical thing thought a lot of shit was because of humors.
Oh yes, your humors are out of whack.
Yeah, so
we're gonna blow smoke up your ass with this fucking what do they call bellows? Like that's the best part. That's where the term blowing smoke up your ass comes from. Is from the doctor sticking a bellows up your ass and blowing smoke in you to clear your humors.
to help your humors. Yeah.
The fuck. We would not survive a week in the Middle Ages. Do you understand? A modern person wouldn't survive one fucking week. We'd get thirsty, drink some water, and die of dysentery. You know what I mean? Like just goodbye.
Well, I mean, that's why they drink beer
And wine.
and wine, because the alcohol killed all the shit in water that was going to give you Giardia or Legionnaire's disease or whatever.
Which at that time meant something completely different.
Yeah.
If you had Legionnaire's disease in those days, it meant you like to get together with your friends and do a turtle formation. No? My Rome joke failed? Fuck you. It was funny. It's a thinker.
A testudo. You and 80 of your favorite bros.
Yeah, trust the science.
Yeah, anyone who says trust the science, I don't believe them. Automatically. I'm not trusting you.
I'll be right back. I got to put my lunch in the oven.
But yeah, Roman legions are weird because you would think since a Roman legion is made up of a number of centuries, it would be like an increment of 10 or 100, when in fact, most centuries were 80 legionnaires and then 20 support auxiliary. And you could have any number of different centuries within a legion. So, Man of War. I've been a while, buddy. Where you been hiding? What you been playing? See, I'll change the name from asking old guy questions to old guy will ask you questions. You know, like poor Vic.
What about?
Everybody's trying to cancel him.
Yeah, well, that's the loonies that are trying to cancel me.
Yeah, well.
I just, you know what? I just look at them and go, "What is your issue?" You know what I'm saying?
It is something that you will never understand.
I think you're exactly right about that.
I've actually heard psychologists explaining the pathogen, and it's weird. It has something to do with like they protest and do all this crazy shit because they don't feel like they have any meaning in their life. So a lot of what they're doing is they're seeking meaning. And that's why.
Well, this is why they're participation trophy kids. Jesus Christ, think about it. Oh, you're gonna go out and play soccer all day? Oh, good. Yeah, there's nothing for you to get in the end. You know, we're just gonna give you a participation trophy at the end. Okay, so all that hard work you did, kid, is worth nothing, and you can free think and do whatever you want. And no, sorry, this is.
When I was a little kid, there were no participation trophies,
No shit.
and we played soccer at school for fun. That's why you played soccer, because
Right.
it was fun. So like you had to do a physical thing. It was part of getting all the necessary requirements to graduate. So yeah, you could, I mean, I played a lot of baseball in high school. That was my thing in high school. And I was also in little leagues, but that wasn't school related. That was something my parents actually had to pay money for me to be in. But
Right.
I mean, so I loved me some baseball when I was a kid. And
We
I
were
liked
expected to
soccer
do-
quite a lot too. But we, back then, even at the school, we played it for the fun of it. It was all for the love of the game, you know? So, yeah, nobody needed a participation trophy. The fact that you were even allowed to get out on the field.
Well, it's all this feel goodism. If you feel good, if you don't feel good in your body, well, guess what? We could turn you into a girl, or
Well,
we could
you
turn
know
into a
what? I was-
boy.
All right. Cool your fucking temperature there, buddy. It's not like, oh, I feel upset. You should be a girl. That's not the chain of event. There's usually a little more going on before they get to that point. Jesus.
Yeah,
don't
in
be-
Canada,
listen,
they skip the "you should be a girl" and go right.
They go,
to,
yeah, would you like to kill
us
yourself?
to euthanize you?
Would you like to leave life? I mean, you're depressed and can't pay rent. And clearly, instead of helping you out by giving you money to pay your rent, we'd much rather just offer you this easy solution. Fuck.
This easy solution, yeah. When I heard about that, and I was like, and they're like, I remember the big story was there was some Canadian veteran that was dealing with some shit, and
She's trying
they're
to
like,
get-
"Would
she
you like
spent
to be
10 years.
euthanized?" And it's like,
She's a vet in a wheelchair. She spent 10 years trying to get a wheelchair ramp built for her fucking house because they pay for that. And the paperwork, after 10 years of fighting for it, they sent her well, would you like to maybe take advantage of MAID instead? Really? Really, Canada? As opposed to just finding an unemployed fucking carpenter and sending him over there with some supplies to build a ramp, your option is maybe you should kill yourself. That's what the fucking Canadian government has become. Maybe you should kill yourself.
have,
Now,
have you
friend
considered
of mine's mom fought cancer, won once, second time she was losing. She was in her 70s and she said, fuck this, I'm not doing this again. And she took advantage of the MAID program and she self-exited, and they came and they did the whole, you know what? God bless her. She had the right choice. She was in pain. She didn't want to go through that again. She was in her 70s. Understandable. But you can't pay rent. You're feeling a little depressed. Hey, that wheelchair ramp would be really helpful. Have you thought about killing yourself? What are you, fucking 4chan? Like, what the fuck is going on in the Canadian government, man? It's Reddit. No.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
I find government programs ridiculous. I mean, some of them are just no. I'm sorry.
Like they say, there's no such thing as a temporary government program.
There isn't.
That's
It's impossible to close a government program. Ever seen a government program get closed permanently?
Maybe we can say in our lifetime we did. It depends how things go. It will officially be the end of the Department of Education, which would be probably a good thing in the U.S. I don't know.
That's not going to happen.
Well, yeah, probably not. I don't know. It might. Damn it. I have too many miniatures. I think the next time I'm going to spend some money, I'm just going to buy a wrist rocket and start shooting miniatures into the lake.
That's actually not a horrible idea.
That would probably be pretty fun, you know.
No, you know what? You'll be charged with lead. You'll be charged with polluting because they're lead miniatures and stuff.
Most of mine aren't, but yeah, I get what you're saying, though. It's like right now I've got some 3D terrain I'm slot painting real quick. It's Ruined City Bits,
Oh,
which
So you're
are
you're doing an Iran playset. Is that what you're doing?
the Iran play. Yeah, right. Actually, they were. If you think about it, man, we were really. I mean, everybody involved was really nice in that war. I mean, I'm not saying it wasn't a terrible thing, but we sent our death Doritos over to do a precision strike on some shit. I mean, we could have just as easily sent, 3 or 4 B-52s to just pave the whole country flat.
You know why I like you, James? Because
Why?
even though you're Christian, you don't do stupid Christian shit because you're not evangelical, right? So there's the meme. It shows a plane crash and says, "Do you want to know a secret about the black box recordings? Something the satanic media would never report to you. In those final moments, each and every time you hear praying, who are they praying to? God, no one else. First reply. So you're saying prayer doesn't work."
Well, I think, yeah. I mean, I think prayer is an amazing thing, but also if it's your time to go,
Yeah, I think prayer is a placebo effect.
I mean, it could be. And
Look, clearly God has favorites because every fucking sporting event, both teams are praying to God for the win, and one of them wins and the other doesn't. So God clearly has preferred teams.
yeah, but the preferred team don't always win because everyone knows during the Civil War, God was with the Southerners.
Well, okay. I don't know how
That's what
everyone
they
knows
said.
that, but okay.
That's what they said.
Okay, that's fair. Oh yeah, no.
No.
I got kicked. Did I ever tell you that I got kicked out of Sunday school when I was like 10 years old? Now, to her defense, she was a 16-year-old volunteer. How could she know any better? But basically, they told us, "Thou shalt not kill." They were teaching us, the whole fucking, going through the Bibles, it's Bible study, whatever. And I held up my hand. She goes, "Yes." I said, "Well, about soldiers? They kill. Are they going to hell?" And she said, I was 10, I was 8. She goes, "No, because they're killing for God. They're Christian soldiers." So I thought for a moment, put up my hand. She goes, "Yes." I went, "What religion were the Germans?" And her poor brain just kind of went, and it was like, there we are. And I got sent home with a note saying, "Please don't let him come back to Sunday school. We'd appreciate that greatly." So I got out of Sunday school by asking questions.
I would say most of your rank and file Wehrmacht guys were probably Lutherans. And there was probably a dash of Catholic in there as well. Definitely no Jehovah's Witnesses because the party had outlawed that cult and they ended up in the camps with all the other undesirables. So yeah. But a lot of people
It wasn't meant to be a critical analysis of the religions of the Nazis, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry. I get like distracted by things sometimes. I don't even like that thing though, and I'll tell you why. I think it's unfair because many of the people who fought for Germany in World War II were not members of the party. So, I mean, they weren't actually Yahtzees at all. They were just guys that got drafted and sent to the Eastern Front. You know what I mean? There's a movie called Stalingrad.
Yes.
And it really shows like how horrible shit was. Like none of those guys, as a matter of fact, in the first village they enter in the Ukraine, the lieutenant of their platoon or whatever tries to stop Ukrainian civilians from murdering Jewish people. But then this SS guy comes up and he's a colonel or something and he kind of outranks him and horribly shoots the little Jewish girl right in the head in front of everybody. And of course, these Wehrmacht guys, they want to shoot him, and in the end they do actually. But by then, everybody's dead, so whatever. You know, it's a crazy movie, man. It is a crazy ass movie. And I'll tell you what, the Russian war movie, Come and See. Oh my God. That movie will give you straight up nightmares for like, it is just that bad. But, you know, I don't care for the lack of heroism in that kind of movies. I'd much rather watch the like the Vikings or something, you know. Where's Shark at? So I can argue with him about the Byzantine Empire. Oh, also my big Byzantine flag that used to hang in front of me. Apparently the HOA's voting on new rules saying that you can't have flags in the window. And my whole window is louvers except for this little top bit. So
HOAs are the worst fucking thing I've ever heard of, really.
yeah, I hate it.
They're like weaponized Karenism.
They are. And the one we have here is like, I don't know, trying to throw their weight around or something. I don't know what in the hell.
All you need is one dickhead on one of those.
It's just like, you know.
You need one dickhead and you need one balls guy to be the counterpoint who just goes, no, Steven, shut the fuck up. That's a dumb idea, Steven. You know, because there's other people on the council who are thinking it, but they're too afraid to say anything. So
Yeah.
the asshole wins every time because they bully everyone into it. But if you have one person who's willing to stand up to them on the HOA, it can, you know, create some actual dynamic in voting. It's kind of like politics.
Well, when they were harassing me about the color of my house, I just threatened to beat shit out of them.
What's wrong with the color of your house?
We wanted our house to be the color it is now, which is like a slate blue.
Mm-hmm.
They said no. They wouldn't approve that color. So we sent them another color, which was like a purple color. They approved it. We painted our house, paid like, you know, thousands of dollars to get the house painted. They came back being like, you got to paint your house because it can't be purple. But we had the emails where they had approved it. And that screwed them up because there's 3 of them and the one lady approved it, but the other 2 guys didn't agree. So it caused a bunch of drama with them. Long story short, in the end, they had to pay us to get the house repainted. And we took advantage of that like freaking skunks. Like we got the best paint that cost the most, you know, and like made sure that the person we hired got paid a lot. But they cut the check. I mean, so there you go.
Good. Fuck
They
them.
were that upset. And then you know what color they ended up letting us paint the house?
Slate blue that you wanted?
The original color they denied. Yeah. Idiots. And
HOA should be declared illegal and immediately disbanded in all ways and shapes and forms.
it's just like, you know, because I guess they weren't all staying in communication with each other. So, you know, people were saying things. Plus, they didn't have a list of acceptable colors. You would just, their way of doing it was just submit the color you want. And if they like it, well, you're good. So, I mean, what a person will approve or not could change with their mood, you know, if they're hungry for something or whatever, you know. So it was just really not good. So now they've hired a company that does nothing but this. and they're total assholes. Like they patrol around to make sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to be
Oh,
doing.
and that just costs you money. If you're in an HOA, that just costs you money and big money. I mean, those HOA management companies are nothing but thieves. And then they have the kickback scheme. Oh, we need insurance for this. They go through their brother's insurance company who kicks back, a couple $1,000s to the management companies. It is a scam and a half.
Yeah.
I was an HOA president, and let me tell you what, it was tooth and nails to fight some of the stuff. But when I got it through, everybody's like, "Why didn't we think of that before?" Like idiots, you know what I mean?
Yep. It's pretty nuts. It's pretty nuts. But
I hate HOAs. HOAs should be limited in scope to common grounds only. That's it. Nothing to do with your
They
house.
should be made illegal.
Huh?
Fuck them. They shouldn't exist.
Yeah.
Just get rid of them.
yeah.
They're like condo associations, but they're condo associations for people who didn't want to live in fucking condos.
Yeah.
Well, my dad, funny story is my dad went for the condo or for his HOA board. So he got elected to it. Then it's the board that elects the president. And they just unanimously named my dad the president of the HOA. He's pissed off about it. He's like, I'm going to quit. They're like, well, no, you're not. So he's president of HOA down there, and he's trying to push through rules and stuff like that makes it easier on everybody. So
It's just a weird situation, and I think it turned. I don't think. I know that there were egos involved, so it become more of a battle than it ever needed to be. Because hey, Bruce, how you doing? Yeah, it turned into way more of a battle than it needed to be because there were just stubborn people on both sides, and that weren't willing to relent. So,
Knock, knock.
who's there?
Viva las questions!
Yeah. That freaking guy. So this is a dairy farm. Can I have some milk?
Oh, that fucking... He was so good.
Yeah, he was so good at being bad. It was like, oh my God.
Ooh, that's a bingo.
Yeah. Like, and then he meets her later on in the movie, like in the restaurant, and they're eating crullers. I mean, it's like kind of crazy. And the big shootout in the bar was because the American, when they were counting,
3 more, did this with his hand like an American. As
Yeah,
opposed to
3.
like this, which is a German.
yeah, Europeans go.
I thought it was this for the Germans. They did with the
It's
3 last.
this. 1,
It's that?
2,
Okay.
3.
Oh.
And
I saw
that's
the
how
movie
they
once.
caught him, because he was not holding his hands right. So they're like, "Oh shit!"
I watched that movie once, and when it was over, I thought to myself, "Well, this movie just did a great disservice to this generation, because they're going to think this is how World War II ended." Fuck.
That's I mean, sometimes I think about that kind of stuff myself, Bear. Like, if you make a movie that's based on a historical thing, but you get like all wild and crazy with it, then like 100 years from now, is that what people are going to think actually happened? I mean, maybe. because it's
They
like,
can't find fucking America on a map, brother.
oh yeah, you
They
always
can't
see
find
those
states on the map,
guys
for Christ's sake.
do.
I bet you money, Bear. I'll bet you money.
What?
95% of Americans could not name every single Canadian province.
Oh, I can't, or
There's only
maybe
10
I
of them.
can, but I don't know that I can.
Try.
Provinces: Labrador, Newfoundland,
Already made a mistake.
Quebec,
You're already wrong.
Alberta,
let's see here. British
Saskatchewan,
Columbia.
Yukon.
You're already wrong.
I'm wrong?
Newfoundland and Labrador is one.
Right.
Okay.
They're not two separate. They're one. Newfoundland and Labrador.
Well, there you go then.
See?
So I guess I was right. I don't know.
Now let's see how Vic, the fucking reprobate geography student, does.
British Columbia, Alberta,
Yeah.
Saskatchewan, Manitoba,
Yeah.
Ontario,
Yeah.
Quebec, Nova Scotia, Labrador, and whatever it is.
Newfoundland, actually.
Right, Newfoundland.
Yeah, you left out two.
Well, those aren't provinces. I thought they were something.
No.
called
Did you just
Yukon
name
and
10
North-
provinces? No. You left out New Brunswick and Prince Edward Island.
Oh, I guess I did.
Holy
Now, here's the
shit.
shitty part. Canadians can name probably all 50 states.
Yeah.
I mean, if I had time to sit down and write them down, I could do that. I mean,
Can you name the 3 territories there, Vic?
Yeah, it's Northwest Territories, Yukon, and Nunavut. I don't. Is it
Nunavut.
Nunavut?
Not Inuvit. Nunavut.
Nunavut. Well,
Begins
I
with an N.
tried.
Nunavut.
I've only heard it like 4
Here.
times. So.
Let me do it for you,
sounds
the American.
very native,
None of
like
it.
Indian.
Just call it none of it, because you ain't
None of
having
it.
none of it.
Is what that sounds like. That sounds like an Indian name.
It's Inuit.
Yeah.
Inuit. So yeah. Florida, like half of everything in Florida is got like Seminole or Cherokee names.
That's like Wisconsin. Try to say some of the names of Wisconsin towns.
New Brunswick has towns with Mi'kmaq names or Micmac names. So you'll have towns like, Riverside, Fredericton, Quispamsis, Mactaquac. It's just like they're right the fuck out to lunch, some of these names. I love them.
Yeah, apparently the Cherokee language, which is Central and North Florida, they like to use a lot of letters when they name stuff. Because you end up with like Okaloosaponta and like all kinds of crazy shit. Usually down here, it's like rivers and lakes. Like the nearest lake to us is Tohopekaliga, which of course all of the non-natives call Lake Toho.
Well, you do know the legend lives on from the Chippewa on down of the big lake they call Gitchagumi, right?
I know that Superior, it said, never gives up its dead.
When the springs of November come looming. Yeah.
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 Don't test my gangster on.
I'm a test it.
Gordon Lightfoot.
I'm a test your Gordon Lightfoot in this.
The Wreck of the
You
Edmund
ever see?
Herald is one of my favorite songs, but my favorite song is Sundown.
Yeah, you better take care unless I find you've been creeping around my back stairs, which is
Right.
weird. Is it about fucking his wife or trying to fuck him? I never understand that song.
It's
Um,
his wife is kind of
Yeah.
slutty, and he's just
Yeah.
letting this guy
She's been
know.
looking pretty keen in her faded jeans. Exactly.
And she don't always say what she really means.
Exactly. Have you seen a picture? Go look at an old picture of him when he was around that time,
Yeah.
and then look at the guy, Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
Someone needs to make a Gordon Lightfoot biopic and get Chris Pratt to play him because he looks almost identical.
Yeah. He actually, I read the autobiography where he talks about his wife and him splitting up and how it was like 100% all his fault.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's
because
guilt by a woman. That's the women putting the guilt on the man.
well, no, he said that she gave him a lot of chances. He just wouldn't stop sleeping around.
Yep.
And eventually she was like done. So he was like, I'm not even going to fight you. You know, I think he was married to a Chippewa woman, or as they call themselves, the Ojibwa,
Ojibwa.
because he himself was, I think, at least half Ojibwa. So that's how
Oh, the singer though.
yeah. If you could read my mind.
Oh, that song is so beautiful.
Yeah. Like a hero. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
When
that
you
is
reach
good.
the point where the heartache's done, the hero would be me. But heroes often fail.
Yeah. Heroes often fell.
You won't read that book again because the ending's just too hard to take. Hello, cats.
Yeah, he actually wrote that song for his divorced wife.
Makes
It
sense.
was kind of his apology, like going out in style song, you know what I mean? Where he's just talking about how all the times he effed up and how, you know, he still loved her but understood what she was doing. And so apparently they managed to maintain a very cordial relationship
Did
after.
you guys see that that divorce between oh God, what was her name? Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt finally ended after like 9 years or 10 years.
Really?
I didn't even know that there was a thing going on.
Yeah, 10 years. Can you imagine being in a divorce court for 10 years? Jesus Christ.
Here's one thing I'm kind of whatever is like, I try not to go out of my way to know what any of those people are doing.
I just saw it in a news flash. It was like, what the fuck? 10 years to get get divorced.
I mean, they had like a bunch of kids and they adopted a bunch of kids and
well, that's like these NBA players, getting married 3, 4, 5 years down the line. They got to pay their wife $1 million a year or whatever it is for child support and all the other bullshit.
Also, listen,
Bill Burr did a hilarious skit on that.
Yeah, he's kind of lost his fucking mind lately.
Well, it's this thing that happens. It's when you marry like a really liberal woman, and so you start acting that way too.
So back to the Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie thing.
Yeah,
he deserves every piece of pain he got out of that divorce, because if you could watch her hang around with her brother looking real creepy, marry Billy Bob Thornton, and they wear their blood on chains around each other's neck and still think, yeah, I'm going to marry that bitch. You deserve every fucking ounce of pain you get because you're a fucking moron. It's like any guy that dated Julia Roberts after she went through her little run of craziness in the 90s and went, yeah, I think I could tame her. You deserve every ounce of pain you get because you're not fucking paying attention.
Yeah, when she like French kissed her brother on TV, that is a little weird.
Though, what's her name? That Somali congresswoman. She's like,
the one that married her brother.
Oh yeah, Ilhan Omar.
Ilhan Omar, yeah, there we go.
Yeah. From Minnesota.
She's a skinny, as we call them.
Yeah, she's also a lying.
Somalis are nicknamed skinnies.
Yeah, I got a friend that's Somali. He told me how they have 4 wives in the United States, and I'm like, what? And he says, oh yeah, we just get married in the mosque. We just don't tell the state. And then all these women go out and they have babies, and they just go get child welfare. Who's the father? I don't know. That's the biggest lie they've got. I don't know who the father is. 3-4 kids later, this guy that I know has 3 wives, one in Ohio, one in Minnesota, and one in California. And each of them have kids by this guy, and he just does his thing, and he goes visits them for about 3 weeks out of every 6 months. And
They busted a bunch of Mormons doing that, actually.
oh yeah, well, the Mexicans do it too. I mean, the Latinos do. They get married in Mexico in the church, but they just don't need to say anything up here at the
Okay, hang on. All right. From Twitter, NSFW, what's the best thing that ever happened to you at a Truth and Dare? Some guy says, in high school, I was dared to play gay chicken, which is where 2 straight guys pretend to be gay, and then the first one to chicken out loses. The other guy and I are both really stubborn, and neither of us want to lose. So anyway, we've been married for 14 years. We run a bed and breakfast in Vermont with our adopted daughter. If that dude doesn't chicken out soon, I'm going to start to suspect that he's actually gay. Shit. Okay, I got to turn off Facebook, but this group is the greatest thing I've ever found in my life. It's bringing me so much joy.
That is pretty freaking awesome.
That sounds like something you'd hear on Reddit too.
Yeah, it's fucking genius.
It like
just people who can come up with that level of comedy is something I really, really like. Or like the Vicious, the one where the guy's basically catfished his own wife on Tinder, pretending to be some guy across the country, like in New York or something like that, where they were in the West Coast, and like created a whole persona that basically was catfishing his wife. And then finally she announces she's leaving him, and she leaves and gets on the plane, and he's like posts a picture of it going, and now she's flying 2,000 miles to be with a guy I made up. It was just like god damn, like you gotta that's game. Game respects game at that point.
That's
what I'm thinking, Bear?
That's that loyalty test thing. That's sort of like these guys. There's a group on there on Facebook. It's like women wildly overestimating their worth. And, you walk into a restaurant, you're going to have dinner with this chick, and she orders a platter of oysters at $2.95 each.
Yeah.
And she expects the guy to pay for this, or she invites her girlfriend to go along too, or all her kids, and it's just like, oh, hold it here. It's the first date here, girl.
Bear's story reminds me of that. Do you like pina coladas?
Yeah. Rupert Hines. Yeah.
Because it was the same thing except with 70s technology.
The personal ads.
Yep.
So I was tired of my lady. We've been together too long. So yeah, he starts putting ads in the newspaper, and it turns out being her. Yeah. See, I told my wife that if that ever happened with her and me, like if I walked in a bar and I saw it was her, I'd call her a filthy whore and leave.
I can't remember what movie I was watching, but it was the best line ever, which was the guy and the girl are talking after, like, it's the sister of the ex-wife and all, and they're talking about shit, and they like each other, and finally he just says to her, he's like, so, would you ever cheat on someone? And she's like, well, you might. She goes, would you take him back? She's like, fuck no. If they cheat on me, they can go fucking burn in hell. And I'm like, yes. Can we please bring this back to normalcy, for fuck's sake, And instead, chicks are like, what's the difference between fucking one guy 30 times or fucking 30 guys? Well, what's the difference between your finger going into your food 30 times or 30 people sticking their fingers in your food?
Yeah.
Damn, that's actually a really good analogy.
Fucking society is cooked, man. Like, I hate to agree with your weird VTube guy there,
Nux,
but he's right, man. It's 1,000% cooked Western civilization.
Yeah, today he was talking about it, and his basic thing was they need to stop teaching all this bullshit in school and start making students read the Bible, because he's like, these motherfuckers have no morals whatsoever. They're like, So they need to get some morals. I forget who he's talking about, but it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I agree though, because it's like literally just become like we need to fucking get good with Jesus real quick. And I'm not even Christian, but it's like that expression is the best expression possible. Like society as a whole needs to get real good with Jesus. Whatever Jesus is in their fucking particular thing, be it Muhammad or fucking Shiva, get good with it fast because everyone's become just shitty fucking people.
Yeah, well, it's like that brilliant guy that hung out with Tolkien said, it's like,
C.S. Lewis?
yeah, if you want to be like the skeptic, like how I sometimes can be the skeptic, he's like, that's cool and all, but there's the whole, if you do all the things and you're wrong, nothing happens. But if you don't do the things and you're wrong, then you get eternity of hell.
Yes, but we also must remember that hell is not what we think hell is.
Well, yeah, I would picture it's like a dark place where you got people just screaming and being loud all the time.
No, it's actually the Bible. I think it's in the Bible, but it's been defined. Even the Catholics have the definition. It's not a lake of fire. It's not, flaming molten fucking fire and demons poking you in the ass. It's the absence of God is hell.
That's what Judaism teaches. Because it talks about how God has many halls, and hell is being separated from God.
I'll tell you this though, the more I look into Gnosticism, the more, and I know you're going to hate me for this because you're Orthodox, but the more I look into Gnosticism, the more I find interesting stuff in it that I'm like,
Yeah, there's some. I mean, there's definitely some stuff in there that's like pretty wild. It's just doctrinally they don't agree with us, so therefore there's an issue.
Yeah, well, because they believe Yahweh is actually not the supreme God, or they posit, they don't believe, they're Gnostics. They posit that, or a lot of them posit that Yahweh is not God, but actually a minor God that's fucking evil. So it's like, that's interesting. That's a fascinating thing to read because it really ties in with my belief that the Catholic Church is founded and created and run by Satan. But that's just me.
Well, the Bible did say there would be demons in the churches, but yeah, they believe, if I remember correctly from reading about it, that you had this good God that created everything, but then an evil
Sophia.
God.
Well, Sophia, the goddess of the wisdom goddess, basically decides that she's going to create her own progeny, and
Right.
she creates this fucking insane creature, the demiurge, that basically creates reality and creates the material world, and that's why they believe in reincarnation, because reincarnation is the trap that prevents you from moving beyond to heaven. It's a trap that keeps recycling you back into this creation. It's
And they
fucking
think
weird
that
shit
Jesus was actually sent
to try and break us out
from Sophia to try to give us the message and be like, hey, you ain't got to be this way. But
Yep.
The game that you probably might love to play, if you want to get into Gnosticism a little bit, I think it's called Cult.
Yeah, I've read Cult when I was in college. It's an interesting game. I'm going to, when I have a little bit of money to throw around, there's a couple of basic sort of primer books on Gnosticism you can buy that sort of, one of them is all the collected apocrypha of the Gnostic texts. And then another is apparently like a really good, like everyone says it's the best breakdown of Gnosticism for a beginner.
See, I don't know about that because within the Gnostic community, they don't agree with each other.
No, but that's the point, right? Is that you're meant to read this and think for yourself.
Jesus had no material form. Some of them say he did. I mean, so...
No, but it's interesting. And that's the thing I like about the Gnostics. The only thing I really do like about them is that it's almost like fucking, fan fiction for Christianity at this point in time with like a weird AU alternate universe bent. But the one thing I like about the Gnostics and the Gnosticism movement is read the shit yourself, make up your own mind. We don't have a centralized belief. We don't have a centralized authority.
Well, that should be how you do anything.
Yes.
I mean, I mean, I have a priest and all, and if I have a question about a certain scripture, I will ask him. But it's on me to actually read the scripture, read the church fathers, and then try to put together in my head what I think they mean. You know what I mean? Like some of them are really easy, like St. Paisios is super easy. He's down to earth, you know, he basically says whatever, but then some of them can be really esoteric. And that's one problem Protestants have with orthodoxy is a lot of them consider Orthodox Christianity to be like too full of mysticism, you know, with like the miracles and everything like that. So, I mean, whatever. I would never say, hey, you should run out and be a Gnostic, but I would say, hey, you should read about it. I mean,
Yeah.
I've read the Book of Enoch, I've read the Book of the Watchers.
Yeah.
You know, I've read a lot of that stuff. I don't believe a lot of that stuff, but I've read a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. I don't
You
know. It's
know.
just in my pursuit of spiritual knowledge. This
One
one
of
is-
the prophecy movies was all about what you're talking about.
Yeah, and this is literally the first thing I've read that's actually resonated with me.
Well, I mean, then it's calling out to there's something inside of you that's saying, hey, check this out.
Yep, and I'm going to, and I'm not going to preach it to people. I'm just going to read it and make my decisions up.
That's the best way. Make your own decision.
It's so
And then,
funny.
I'm going to create Gnostic Fight Club.
It's funny because it's like they talk about the goddess Sophia, and then the Orthodox, of course, we still longingly look to the east to the Hagia Sophia,
Hagia Sophia,
which is the house of
Constantinople.
wisdom, you know,
Mhm.
where like my local Orthodox church is actually Saint Sophia.
Yeah.
So pretty interesting stuff though. I mean, I love, since I was a little kid, I've always loved reading like Bullfinch's mythology and
Yeah.
like just I love reading about what my distant ancestors believed.
Sure.
You read the well, you guys don't read the opinions by the Supreme Court very often, I bet.
Yeah,
Oh, not
yeah,
really
we're
on
not
my,
as
on my reading
intellectual
list.
as you.
No.
Yeah,
You know,
well,
waste
they
time
just made LGBTQ education basically null and void inside of schools. Parents can opt out their children from that curriculum. That is now optional, so they might as well just erase it from school boards.
Well, they already did in Florida.
Yeah. Well, now it's law of the land with the Supreme Court. So
And the other thing Florida is doing is the nickname they're calling it is Alligator Alcatraz.
oh yeah, I saw that. That was that's
I guess there's an airstrip down near the freaking Everglades. It's
yeah, it's
surrounded by like
55 miles west of Miami. Perfect place, right in the middle of the Everglades.
yeah, and they're just going to set up the structures there real quick. And they said the best part is you don't really need a lot of guards because
It's gonna be tent city out there. It's
I
gonna be
mean,
like
if
Iraq.
anybody tries to escape, they're going to be, you know, running through the swamp trying to dodge alligators, crocodiles, and pythons, and also herpes monkeys. Don't forget the herpes monkeys, especially since their brand of herpes will just kill you dead if you get it.
You know what? They're fighting so hard to stay when it's just easier if they self-deport, and then the government doesn't have a record of you if you self-deport, and then they can reapply to come back. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's even weirder than that because if you self-deport, the government will give you $1,000. Like, say you want to move back to wherever. Say you wake up and you say, F this, I'm moving back to Toronto.
Yeah.
You can use that website and they'll pay for your plane ticket and all kinds of shit because it's so much cheaper just to buy somebody a plane ticket than it is to have to run them down.
Right.
So that's a thing.
That the Department of Homeland Security is hiring bounty hunters or something to go hunt these people down.
They're saying they're going to hire like another 18,000 people. And
Well,
of course,
that's how you want to be the job creation president.
yeah, I'll tell you, the one guy too, he is definitely the don't test me guy. The leader of
The ice guy, the
Holman.
yeah, he's fucking insane.
That dude, yeah, he is old and has 0 F's left to give about anything. You know, he's like, oh, you don't want us here? Well, we're coming and we're bringing like 3 times as many people as we normally would. Because, you know, you said you didn't want us here, so no.
Yeah, it's misinformation about the bounty hunters, but anyways, Holman, he actually reads the law. I mean, I don't care. The liberal left here in this country, they think that they know the law better than the law. You know? it's like hold on here. They're not going to be.
Well, it's funny when like they're trying to like deport some guy, and you got all these people yelling, I need to see your warrant and shit like that. And it's like, to deport an illegal, you don't actually use a warrant. It's an administrative bench warrant. So there's no paperwork. It's basically the ICE guy came in one day and his boss said, here's what you're working on today. And he said, oh, okay. And then he went out and snatched up whoever he was supposed to snatch up.
Well, hold on. Biden made that system where they have the goddamn phones and they were putting all their information in. So, I mean, hello. I mean, they are the ones that said, yes, I'm here illegally. And the government's just using that information to track them down. You know what I mean? If they don't use their phone app, they you know, then it'd be a lot harder to find them, you know?
It's like all the geniuses at the LA riots, like waving Mexican flags. And it's like, all of that shit's going to be on camera. And they're already busting and throwing a lot of those dudes in prison. Like the one guy that threw a rock at the cop and the other guy that was throwing rocks at the cars as they're passing by.
Yeah.
They're looking at up to 20 years
I don't know.
each.
Well, they need
because, you know, throwing a rock at a cop and knocking his helmet off and almost killing him. It turns out they put you in prison for that.
What?
Yeah.
Well, there goes my Halloween plans.
Yeah.
In the state of Florida, we have a law that if you try to block a highway, we don't have to stop.
Boy, I wish that rule was in place in fucking more places.
Look it up.
Oh, I would bet you they hope for that in Europe. Jesus, those no oil people are driving me insane. I watch them walk out there, sit their asses down. I'm like, how much oil you were holding on your body? Not you. If you're going to be natural and you want no oil, you should strip them of all their clothing and put them in a linsey wool, you know, nightie from the 12th century. Just put them out.
The Brevard County Sheriff did a PSA, and it was basically if you throw a rock at a cop, we're going to put you down. If you resist a cop, you'll go to the hospital, and after that, you're going to jail. If you run from a cop, we will introduce you to our puppies, so you'll just be going to jail after the hospital, very tired. And just today on YouTube, they're showing Florida, some like trans person ran at a cop, and the cop tased the shit out of him. And then the dude got tased and knocked him down. And the dude tried to jump back up. So obviously the cop just lets him have the lightning again, you know. That's what we called it in the fire department, riding the lightning.
Call it Edison medicine, man.
And because we would get called in sometimes because the ones they use that they shoot, they have barbs.
Yeah.
And they actually stick in and knock you, you know, and we would have to arrive to remove the barbs so that they could go to the hospital and then to jail. And it's like, I've always had this thing. Okay, when I was young, you've heard some of the colorful stories I've told that were kind of criminal. But anytime the cops showed up, I was always silent and compliant. Like if they caught me in the middle of a fight, I'm not going to fight a cop. They run up and say, stop. I'm lifting my hands and backing away.
Yep.
I'll tell them my name. I'll tell them my address. We can go to jail. But that's just how I am. You know, I will not resist the police because shit will not work out for you down here. You resist them down here, you're catching ass whipping. You're going to get maced or electric. You're going to ride the lightning. I mean, it's just not worth it, you know? I've always had the opinion that if I'm trying to get over and do something shady and a cop catches me, it's like, well, you beat me this time. You know? No reason to get mad. Just be like, well, you beat me this time. We'll see next time, you know? Whatever. I'll do a little time. I'll be out. It's okay. You know, it's not like I'm doing crazy shit. So
I just ask what the nature of the stop is. Why are you stopping me? Just why? And if they can't articulate it, I just look at them and say, call a supervisor.
Me? See, you're a driver. Whenever I get stopped, I turn on the smile and I'm just like getting the insurance and the driver's license.
Oh, that's what I usually do too. I just hand it out the window. I know I'm guilty. I just hand it out the window.
You know, I'll chat him up. So you having a good day? You know, what's up? This and that. Plus, I get a lot of breaks because they see my IAFF sticker on the back, which is the International Association of Firefighters. So a lot of times, as soon as they see that, like we were going up to Georgia and they pulled us over doing 90 on the turnpike. And instead of writing us a speeding ticket, they wrote us a ticket because the tags were like a month overdue to get registered. And the ticket was just get the car registered and then show us proof that you did.
Fix it ticket.
So, yeah. And the dude who gave us the ticket, the Georgia state trooper, was super nice. Like, but he walks up from behind the car and sees, you know, firefighter union sticker and combat veteran sticker. And then he walks around and my wife's driving and I've got my little Pomeranian in my lap and we're just like, hey, how you doing? What's going on? And he just totally, he's like, it's an old couple going somewhere. I'm not going to ruin their shit, you know?
Well, I just hand out my driver's license, my thing.
Ducato, who I think is a Leo, says they are under no obligation to actually call a supervisor. That might be different from state to state. I don't know.
It's different state to state. In Minnesota, it's you get to ask for a supervisor.
I mean, I've had to call supervisors before, but that basically the disgusting story, Ducato, is we got called because there was strange odor coming from a trailer. So we broke into the trailer, right, with the Haugen tool because we couldn't get in. And I mean, if you know what a Haugen tool is, you can break into anything with a Haugen tool.
Is that the one
with a flathead axe
curve in the thing? Where
it's like the bar, and it's got like an adze and a spike,
That's what I'm talking
about. A bar.
Yep.
Man, love that thing, right? So we pry open the door, get hit in the face with this. I mean, almost knocks us out, right? Go in, dude's in the bed, and he used to be white or pale skin Hispanic, but now he's black. And he's got no eyeballs because there's things living where he used to have eyeballs and stuff. So we walk out and we're like, yeah, that guy is dead. You got to call the meat wagon, right? Because we don't put anyone dead in the back of a rescue. That's someone else's problem. And the cops deal with it. This freaking cop, young guy, he's like, well, you can't leave because I need a strip for my paperwork. And a strip is, he wanted us to hook him up to the 12 lead and get a rhythm.
Oh, God.
And we're like, yeah, that's not going to happen. You know, he's literally in there
That's when you
you
tell the
know.
cop it's a desecration of the corpse. I can't. See you later.
you know, and he wanted to throw his weight around. And to be perfectly fair on a scene like that, the cop is 100% in charge. You might be the firefighter doing the badass firefighter shit, but a cop is in charge of the scene. And so got on the phone with his sergeant, who, I've hung out with a couple of times, and I'm like, we're having a real problem over here. And I explained it to him. And the sergeant, funny guy, because he looked Mexican and he had like the weirdest like Eastern Kentucky accent. You know what I mean? He like riding his motorcycle and wearing cowboy hats and shit. But anyway, so the sergeant shows up and he asks the young guy what's going on, and the young guy's like, these firefighters are refusing, a legal order. I want them to get a strip. And he's like, no. And the guy's like, what? And he's like, in cases where it's obvious death, you don't need a strip. Just write down in the notes, body has been dead for 3 weeks and is now, completely necrotizing and turning into slop, right? And so, yeah, we caught a supervisor, but it might be different when you're a firefighter and you need a supervisor to straighten out a young cop that's just trying to be. I mean, these guys, they're young, they get hired on, they're fired up, they want to be the best cop they can be. It usually takes them a lot of years. Once they get about 10 or 15 years, they all turn into jaded bastards. They're just waiting around to retire. You know what I mean? After they've been run through the freaking meat grinder, they're just like, whatever. But the young ones, this same cop, I saw him pull over the Catholic car, and he had like the nun and the priest outside leaned up against the car. We were driving by. It's just like, because our local Catholic church has a building across the street where all the priests and nuns live, and they have this little station wagon that they can use to do chores, because I think Roman Catholics, they get a stipend every month for like, deodorant and socks and shit like that. And this guy pulled the freaking Catholic station wagon over. It's like, damn, dude. But I guess
really
he was Judge Dredd or something for a minute,
Jesus criminy. That's called
taking I am the law. But
taking your job way too seriously.
Well, like I said, the brand new rookie cops, they're like super by the book. They want to make a name for themselves, so they run out and act like assholes. And then after a few years, they all calm down and they're like, all right, they start prioritizing important things over like bullshit.
Can you lay down?
Well, of course, the FD guys were great. They're FD guys. I mean, that's a given. That's why everybody loves the firefighters. That's why I would never be a cop. Cops show up at your house or pull you over, you are not happy to see him at all. Firefighters show up because Grammy's having chest pain. As soon as you knock on the door, everyone in that house is so happy to see you. You know what I mean?
You know what? I just look at it like this. I don't care. It's the only time I really get pissed off is when DOT officers are around, and that's because I'm a truck driver.
You're a truck driver. Yeah. DOT is your worst nightmare.
And they come around and they go, well, I'm going to put you out of service for what? You're just looking at them going, yeah, that could have happened 5 minutes ago or it could have happened 5 days ago. I got an air leak somewhere. Oh, big deal, give it a break. Give me a fix-it ticket. Let me go to the shop and get it fixed real quick. I got a flat tire. In Minnesota, if you have a flat tire in a semi-truck, they'll shut you down right there on the side of the road until you get a road service, which is bullcrap.
I'm sure the tires and stuff on those big trucks are not cheap or easy to deal with.
Oh no, it's a road call is minimum $500. Even if you need air.
Are they split rim? Because I saw a guy get killed by a split rim
No,
one.
no. All Bud wheels. I use Bud wheels, which is a single. So
Yeah, when I was in the Army, we were sitting on top of the Bradley, and some dude was trying to break down the spit rim for a 5-ton, or it might have actually been a Hemet.
yeah.
And he's hitting this thing with a sledgehammer, and when it popped loose, it broke his back. He died right on the spot. It
Yep.
just killed him.
Split rims are dangerous, and the biggest thing about that is de-air the tire first.
Not only that, but in the Army, they had the proper safety thing, which is that chain thing that you put around it.
Right.
And it's like a net so that
Yeah.
if it pops loose, it's only going, you know.
Right.
But he wasn't using it.
Yeah, well,
I mean, I saw more people die doing stupid shit in the Army than like die
that's
in
like a
Iraq.
brake chamber underneath a semi truck. I've seen guys get underneath there and start swinging their hammer at him. I look at him like, "Are you a fucking idiot or what?" Those
Well,
things
the
are
answer,
spring
the
loaded.
answer is yes, obviously. You know, like I can answer that for you. The answer is yes. Yes,
Well,
they are. It's like,
Gentlemen, as much fun and as dark as this conversation has suddenly turned, I gotta go. So enjoy your death by Faces of Death reunion tour. And I gotta bounce. So thanks for having me on, James. I'll talk to you guys later. Vic, stay a reprobate.
Yeah, you too, but reprobate.
Bye.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I've seen so many dumb things by people. It's just lately, I'm just like, I think we need re-education courses around here.
well, I think a lot of it too is people who are super familiar with like the thing they're doing. So they think they can take shortcuts or whatever. And it turns out that they can't because
There is,
you know, you got to follow. There are just some rules you got to follow.
no. There's shortcuts and working smart is what I like to call it. Like when I've dropped the trailer, like on the because of mud or something, you know, you're dropping a semi trailer, you wheel down the landing gear and you pull out from underneath it, and all of a sudden the trailer sinks right away because of the weight. It drops on your frame. You know, most guys sit there and go, "Oh, you're never gonna get it back up. You gotta call tow truck." Well, no, you don't. You just got to think about how you want to do this. You know, roll up the landing gear, leave it on the frame, put big long beams of wood underneath the goddamn landing gear, and then do the landing gear trick or the airbag trick, where you raise up the trailer with airbags, roll down the landing gear, put up a couple pieces of wood on the frame, raise it up again, do it again, and then you can get the trailer back on underneath and it locked up to the kingpin. But you know, you see these guys just like, oh my god, where do you brains? I don't
One
know.
could say,
You know,
you reprobate you,
yeah.
that I am an expert in what you're talking about.
Why did you drop a trailer once in the mud?
Never. But I've been
No.
called at least 4 times to right trailers that have fell over on
Huh?
their sides.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the truck and the trailer.
Oh well. That's
And we use those freaking airbags. And on our heavy rescue engine, we've got like 5 or 10 different airbags, and each one is bigger than the last one.
yeah, you slide
So you
one
put
in.
the first one in, and then the second one in, and the third one in, and eventually you can actually get that thing to where it'll flip back over. But you got to attach restraints to it so that it flips up, but don't keep going.
Yeah, depending on what it's loaded with. You know, if it's top heavy loaded like swinging beef, that is a complete bitch.
We had a tractor trailer full of rolled up carpet just randomly light on fire,
Oh Jesus.
and that shit burnt so hot. I mean, the trailer, you know how they're made out of aluminum, right?
Right.
It was gone. Like the steel frame that the wheels were attached to, the wheels were gone.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
everything but that steel frame, and that thing was effed up.
Oh,
And
yeah. I
we
used to
show
haul
up and start putting water on it,
Yep.
But the problem is the way the fire was working, the water's hitting the carpet and it's trying to soak in, but the fire's over here in the carpet.
Right.
So the water's really not getting to it. And then, yeah, it just complete loss.
Carpet's a
Truck
total
was
loss.
trailer lost, everything lost.
Yeah. That's the only thing you can do with that is wheel down the landing gear as fast as you can and get out from underneath it and save the tractor, basically. I mean, that's why they don't load that. They try not to load the carpet onto reefer trailers. And if they do load them on reefer trailers, they make sure those reefer trailers, the reefers don't turn on because they'll overheat those reefer units on the front. And then it'll just, fuck it
Yeah,
up.
Hungar explained how all that shit works once, but see, I know nothing about trucking, but I am somewhat of a scientist when it comes to turning a lopsided truck back upright on its wheels or, cutting the doors off of it.
Yeah, that's
I've
pretty
done
easy.
that with
I've
the
done that a
jaws
couple
of life.
Trailer comes in all effed up. Just get out the grinder and grind off the hinges and drop the doors off, and then look inside, and there's a load of rotted turkeys or whatever it is. Oh God!
See,
Back
that
in-
would be the old way. The new way is you take the Haugen and the flathead axe and you put it into the door on the back side of the door away from the hinges,
Yeah.
and you hammer it in and you bend it to get like an opening,
Yeah.
and then you put the spreader in, the hydraulic spreader, jack that thing in there and hit the button, and it just will, the door will crumple. And
Yep.
by then you can pull the door open, and then you get the cutter and you cut off the hinges and the whole door will fall right off.
Yeah.
And then
well,
after that, you can take the windshield out, you cut the freaking posts, take the whole
A-pillars
roof
and
off.
stuff like that. Yeah, we did when we used to get semi trailers in. Sometimes it would be cockeyed, I guess you'd call it, and there would be turkeys or whatever in there, and because it rolled over in the wintertime or what, and you'd come into the shop and you'd be like, great, what do we got to do now? And you'd have to we'd cut off the hinges because we're going to do it anyways. No matter what, we're cutting off the hinges to get the doors open because they're so bad. And it's like, what? Cut the hinges all the way down and pop the doors off, roll the trailer back outside and start to unload all the bad turkey and stuff, and have to bring it over to the goddamn, the dump, which is only 1.5 miles away. I was like, And some of that stuff in summertime, it was even worse, man. I mean, sometimes we get that stuff in, it was just like, oh, this is horrible. So
I just thought of something too. I've actually kind of sort of drove a big truck. The Rescue that I drove for many years had air brakes.
well,
It was
that's
a
close.
big freaking International. And then, of course, I trained to drive the engine, which was a Pierce with a 500-gallon tank. So, which luckily our Pierce had baffles in it, so it wasn't so bad. And it was a one. I mean, you've seen fire trucks. You're actually sitting over and in front of the engine, and you're also sitting in front of the front wheels. So it's kind of weird when you turn because it feels like you're swinging around like this because the front wheels are behind you. So, but yeah, I've a big rule is if you're driving like the Rescue somewhere far, you don't want to lay on the federal horn too much because it is powered by the same air compressor that the brakes are powered by. So if you lay on that, if you lay on your federal too much, you'll bleed all the air pressure out of your air brakes, and then they get all squishy. That's no good. No good at all. But anyway. Yep.
Here's a question for you. Just got it.
I got an answer.
Got one for you, James. We got to make a ruling on this one. In AD&D, would you allow a wizard to teleport onto a ship that he owns without knowing its current location?
No.
I would allow it if the room that he was specifically going into was known to him. But the problem is if the ship was in motion and it was going up and down in the waves, that materialization might happen. You're inside the deck or you're inside the ceiling or something like that. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, hey, you know the room, but it's moving. So
yeah, I guess my real answer would be I'll allow them to do anything. The question is, are they going to live through it?
That's right. That's my ruling. It's like
if you really want to do this, okay.
Are you in a class 4 gale? If you're in a class
sometimes
4
I
gale,
don't even ask them if, are you sure you want to do that?
That 20-foot waves, it's going up and down. You teleport into the room. Well, you know the place when it's at this point. But when you get there, it's at this point.
So you fall 20 feet and possibly into the ocean.
Right. Or you're 20 feet below the deck that you were supposed to teleport to, or you're 20 feet above the deck you're supposed to be going into, and you're fucked. You know what I mean? Now you're keel hauling yourself.
In the one D&D movie they made in Czechoslovakia, not the Dungeons & Dragons movie that was lame, the elf wizard teleports the group, and somehow she appears with her arm in the wall.
Right.
And they have to get away. So basically the fighter has to pull out his Vorpal sword and take her arm off.
Right.
And at the end of the adventure, after they've done all the good stuff they're supposed to do, and they're all standing there, the survivors, she's there with the stump because, she hadn't, I guess, found somebody to cast regeneration.
There's a rule inside of D&D. There's a teleportation rule. If a place is known to them, then the odds are fairly well. But if it's in motion, you know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. Trying to teleport onto something in motion, that's like...
Yeah. I mean,
that would be harder than trying to land an airplane on a carrier during rocky seas.
Right.
Because at least you can see what you're doing.
But if, like I said, if it's the place is known to them, I can understand if it's sitting on a dockside doing nothing, not in motion or anything else, a room in a ship, I could see them teleporting onto it, no problem. If it's in a class 4 gale going across the sea, and you know what I mean, and you're trying to teleport onto that, oh, you know the room, you just don't know what's going on with the room. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'd let them do it, but it would probably not work out.
Yeah.
Because just because they know where just because the wizard has memorized the room on the ship is actually moving.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, where the problem would happen is, yeah.
Well, that's why I said what I said. It's just like, no.
Yeah.
No. But that's my opinion on it. So
I can imagine people.
That's sort of like ruling on monsters the other day. What's a monster? You know what I mean? Somebody asked for my opinion on what's a monster. Well, I said every DM has a different opinion of what a monster is, and I got in a little argument with one of my players, and I said, okay, fine. The chipmunks are going to be stealing your lunch. They're a monster. What are you going to do about it, Kevin?
What's a monster?
Yeah.
Everything that isn't a player character. That's my answer.
Is a chipmunk a monster?
Sure. I mean, because monster is generally just used to denote something you might come into conflict with.
I don't.
So if the chipmunk is an evil chipmunk and it has decided to do evil stuff, then yeah, it's monster.
Okay, well, it's gonna steal the nuts from your lunch as you're sitting down in the camp and run away.
Well, theft is wrong. We all know that. So there you go. There
Okay,
you go.
we'll
No
call it
pity for the
misappropriate.
chipmunk at that point. He made his choice.
I don't know. I'm of the considered opinion there's things that are monsters. Like a deer is going to run away from you. It's not going to try to harm you. You know what I mean? It's not its modus operandi is not to hurt anybody. It's just eat, fucking, and whatever, and run away. It doesn't want to be food for someone else. I mean, but if it's an alligator, well, as far as I'm concerned, that's a monster. You know what I mean? It will eat you.
Yeah, I guess you could say animals that will eat you automatically count as monsters.
Right.
I
Or
mean,
if they're able to kill, if they're able to how would you say that? If they're able to injure you to the point that you could no longer, you know what I mean, survive or live, then I would call that a monster that needs to be dealt with. It could be, you know what I'm saying?
right.
A chipmunk coming up to you and testing you to see if you're edible and giving you a little nip on the finger, going, no, that's probably not a good idea. And then says, oh, hey, he's got nuts for lunch. I'm going to go take a couple of those and run away. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's not a monster. A butterfly is not a monster. You know what I mean?
This is so weird because, like, in all of my days of role playing, never has anyone ever asked me what the hell a monster is.
Right.
It sounds to me like some of your players got too much time.
No, this one was on X, and I was just
then that person has too much time. He needs to go touch grass. I mean, you could be hardline with him. You could be hardline with him and say, "Is it in the monster manual?"
Right.
If it is, then it's a monster.
Right.
But then that's kind of lame because, we all know. I mean, the monster manual's full of, rabbits and chipmunks and freaking every other thing. So
right, but we're also talking. This wasn't me. This is some lady saying that they had trouble with some DM from Wisconsin. He was a TSR original, and the guy said that the alligator killed this guy because the guy was staying 20 feet from the shore. And I was like, well, as a DM myself, I would rule that because the guy is hyper vigilant watching the water, that I don't think he would be caught by an alligator if he's 20 feet from the shore and he's watching it. Sure, it might startle the guy, and I make him roll a dexterity check just to make sure he jumps out of the way from the alligator. But no, I'm sorry.
That'd have to be a big freaking alligator.
Man, it's a huge alligator. It had to be, because alligators can only go about half to 3/4 length of their body before they, you know what I mean? Before they have to stop, basically, or they slow down precipitously out of the water. I mean,
yeah, and usually alligators are ambush predators.
Yeah, they wait
So
for you to
if you're 20 foot away from the water,
yeah,
unless that alligator is literally starving to death, it's not going to,
and alligators
get
are
out of the water and try to hunt you down.
Yeah, but alligators are cannibals. If it's 20 foot long, I mean, and it's looking for a meal, it's just going to go chomp another one that's smaller than it if it's that hungry. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, Yeah, and they don't get 20 feet long. I just said that. The biggest one I think was 15 feet.
No, they had one over in Australia that was like 18 feet or something like that.
Well, those are crocodiles.
Yeah, there's a salty.
There's
So,
a huge difference between an alligator and a crocodile.
yeah.
Like one big one is that crocodiles are just innately man eaters. They're not like whatever, you know. Like an alligator will eat a human if it's really, really hungry and it's big and the human's there, but it doesn't go out of its way. But a crocodile will go out of its way to actually kill a human and eat him. And so that makes them a lot, you know, a lot different to deal with. We have crocodiles down here.
I know. There's American alligators and American crocodiles. So, I mean,
And there's one state where they both coexist.
yeah, Florida.
Yep. And we've got pythons and anacondas. And if you live in South Florida, you can sometimes get a job from golf courses to go in and kill iguanas.
Oh yeah, and those Egyptian geese are invasive too. You can kill those in Florida without a license. I've been looking all that stuff up from when I moved down there.
Neutrinos too.
I want to get one of those high powered BB guns or BB rifles that you can sit there and just poof, you know, kill the iguanas and stuff.
It's crazy because you can get 357, which is basically very, very close to 9mm. Because 9mm is 36 caliber, so 3.357 is what, 43?
Yeah,
or 33 millimeters or whatever smaller. But you can get those things that got a muzzle velocity of like 1,000 feet per second.
1,200 I read.
That's as good as some actual firearms
I know.
do.
They got air tanks on them. They got the butt is like an air tank, and you just fill it up with it in your car. And poof.
Well, they usually come, because I was looking into this. They usually come with a hand pump, but if you read the reviews, everyone that's like super serious into them says no to the hand pump. If you have the means, as soon as you can, buy the special air compressor. And you can't use a normal air compressor.
Right.
Because the normal air compressor doesn't
have enough PSI.
Yeah, I know in Louisiana they had a gator called Three-Toed Tom or something that was supposed to be gigantic and actually killed 16 people or something like that. But yeah, you need the special freaking generator. And then also the guys tell you you want to buy like multiple canisters. So, you know, if one of them starts losing the umph, you can they twist off. And then you just twist a new one in and look at your PSI. And if you got the PSI for it, yeah, you can get them on Amazon pretty cheap, actually.
I saw $1,000 is what I saw.
Yeah, that's for like a super high end one. Yeah.
Well, that's what I would buy because I'm like,
right.
I mean, like, all right, fine. Here, I'm going to shoot that iguana 30 feet in the air. Poof. You know, if it falls out of the tree,
you want him to vanish.
Well, I just want him to fall out of the tree, and you know, I'm not going to worry about it. It's sort of like when you're hunting ducks and geese and stuff. It's like you shoot it, and it does a tumble roll into the dirt. All right, walk over to grab it, toss it in a bag, and keep moving on. You know. Problem is down there in Florida is you still got the problem of the whacked out people going, you can't do that. And I was like, oh God, that's why you call the police department.
Every time I watch the video of the one dude doing it,
Yeah.
there's always some Karen that runs up and starts, you can't have a gun here, blah, blah, blah. And he has to explain that he can.
Yeah.
And then
Here's
the
a
one
letter
video I was watching, this guy was like killing the iguanas, and like some dude from Dominican Republic asked him if he could have them.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, because apparently if you know how to cook an iguana, they're really good.
Yeah. Chicken of the jungle, they call it.
Yeah, like their legs and stuff, the big ones, you know.
You know what? If they want to eat them, I don't care. I would just do it for the HOAs or whoever hired me. I'm just like, here I am. I'm going to kill as many as I can in the next whatever hours. You should send out letters to everybody in your HOA or email everybody in the HOA. I'll go talk to the police department, the sheriff's department, and send them notices that I'm going to be out here. And I'm going to start
just do your thing, man.
I'm just going to work. And if anybody comes up and starts yelling, I'm just going to hand them the letter and say, here you go. On the bottom is the police department. You can call that number. They'll take care of you, and walk away. Just keep doing my job.
Right. I mean, yeah, there's a guy and he actually does that. There's another guy and he has like a thermal scope on his 22 caliber air rifle.
Yeah.
And people hire him to go at night to their ranches
Yeah.
and kill rats.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, I've seen some videos where he's killed hundreds of rats in one night.
Oh,
He
yeah.
just sets up the rifle on a tripod and he just sits there. And when he sees one, he just pops it. And
The produce farmers down there in Florida have a really bad time with those fruit rats down there. And they just, that's why some of them, I was watching an interview of a farmer down there. He said, I don't mind the big snakes. I'd rather deal with the big snakes than the fruit rats. The snakes won't eat my fruit.
right.
You know?
No, he probably should love the snakes because maybe they'll eat those damn rats.
Right. So,
But, it's like,
well, that and the orange farmers hate the wild boar, because the wild boar get underneath there and, try to tear down the trees looking for the.
they'll tear the trees right down.
Yeah.
The few occasions you may have heard me talk about hog hunting, that was what we were doing. It was when I lived out on Deseret Ranch, and they would pay us to actually go and capture wild hogs out of the orange groves.
Right. Well,
and you get like a couple bucks for a baby, and then the bigger ones, you might get more for. And what's crazy is like the baby males, a lot of the time they would just castrate them and then let them back loose, but not in the orange grove, obviously, so that people could hunt them.
There was I watched a guy down in Florida. That's what he did for a living. He catches wild boar and sells them to these hunting clubs up north in northern Florida, so that these rich guys, can go out and shoot the wild boar on their private ranches. It's like, whatever. I don't care.
I have seen people who go wild boar hunting with spears. And they sell you can buy the actual kit to do that.
Oh.
Hog hunting with spears.
Texas,
that's crazy.
In Texas, they've got it's an industry out there where you go trap the wild boar alive, load them up in a trailer, and you haul them to a slaughterhouse, and they take care of it from there, and they pay you for them. So cheaper than buying a wild or a domesticated hog. They just buy that wild boar from these guys, and these guys make money at it. So,
Well, yeah, I don't know about Texas, but I know that like Florida, the wild boars and sows down here can get 350, 400 pounds.
Oh yeah.
So, but the problem is, I learned this from hunting, is if the wild boar, if you shoot him and he doesn't instantly die,
they'll attack you.
It will foul its meat.
Yeah.
I don't know what it releases, but then its meat will be super, super gamey. And a lot of people won't like that. So a lot of times you want to kill a sow and eat that.
But boars are bad just because they got the testicles. I mean, that's just that's the way they are. And
Oh,
sows are
they'll come after you though. You're not wrong about you said they'll attack, and I was like, well, this is the reason. But yeah, I've been chased by them more than once.
yeah.
You know, I've been treed by a boar before. It's not fun, you know. But you know, it is what it is.
So when you pull out your 9mm and drop a couple in his head,
Yeah, I mean,
if you don't hit them in the head, sometimes they
stress
just
is a killer, man of war. Yeah, those boars, they like to. We used to go down to the dump, and boars, wild pigs, they love the dump,
I
and
bet.
they are aggressive as hell. So if you go down there and you catch one of their attentions, they will come after your ass like 100%. And yeah, it's pretty crazy, you know. But it is what it is. But yeah, the spear hunting craze, that was a whole craze not that long ago, actually.
Yeah, I'm not sorry. I'm not going to do that. I'm just no.
You know,
Sorry.
there was like this whole group of hunters, and that was their thing, you know, go out. It's kind of like my uncle was a hunter, you know, that is just his nature, right? And so he hunted during every season. So bow season, black powder season, freaking, you know, whatever, it didn't matter. And so he had all the various equipment you might need to do that. You know, he had his compound bow, he had his freaking Hawkins 50 cal, you know, he just loved it. You know, rest in peace. But I think I'm going to go have something to eat.
Well, I'm reading the Supreme Court rulings, and I think we need to start changing some things in this country.
Well, I mean, so do the idiots rioting in LA.
Well, no, I'm just saying that if you come to the United States to purposely have a baby, that's basically fraud. I think of it as, you know what I'm saying? I mean,
You know who's really bad for that?
Russians.
Russians.
Yeah.
They will send their wife over 10 months pregnant, ready to drop a kid,
Yeah.
usually to Miami.
Yeah.
And then, you know, she'll walk off the plane and like the next day she's in the hospital pumping a kid out.
Right.
And what's weird is they take the passport and go home.
Right. The Chinese do the same thing. The Chinese
I don't know
go
if they
to LA.
steal the passport or what in the hell they're doing.
There's an article I read. I don't remember where it was, but there's a hotel or two in LA where these Chinese nationals that are pregnant, they'll fly in, they'll go to the hotel for a month, they'll have the baby, get the birth certificate and everything else, then they'll fly home with the baby. It's like, we got a small problem here. That's fraudulent, as far as I'm concerned. You're the sole reason you're coming into the country is to have a baby. You know.
Well, the whole reason that law was put on the books was for slaves.
Right. Well, that's
because I guess there were some people that were trying to argue that the children of slaves wouldn't be citizens.
Well,
so they put that on the book that the children of slaves would in fact be citizens. But then it started getting applied to basically anyone, right? I mean, I know my pop's family, they come through Ellis Island and got their name changed and got their papers, and they were Americans.
Yeah.
That is back in 1919 or 1917, something like that.
Right.
Yeah, they went from Simon Lovich to Simon's son.
Well, my family was changed their name coming up. Well, my dad's side did, not my mom's side. My mom's side stuck with it, but my dad's side changed it. So because he can never get his paychecks right coming from the railroad. They always did it wrong.
They
So-
respelled my name because my name is originally spelled Maciiodh, and they renamed it to Mckee because that's what it actually sounds like.
Yeah.
But you know how the Irish language, and especially Welsh, let's just say Gaelic languages, whether they're Gael or whatever, they're weird. Like Scottish is just a version of Irish because Scotland was conquered by the Irish. Welsh is its own thing.
Yeah.
It's a Brythonic language related to the Celtic language. And it's like there are names in Ireland right now that they name people
Mm-hmm.
that to this day, even the Irish aren't 100% sure how the name is pronounced.
It
Like
happened.
one of them is the girl's name. It's spelled like Saobhan something, you know. So you think it's like Sobhan or something, but they pronounce it like Shiva or Shava or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really crazy. And instead of James, they say Seamus.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh,
I don't know. In Italy, I think they just call James James.
I don't know.
I think so because, like, if you think about
Probably.
all of the cathedrals and everything in Italy, you know, you've got like St. Mark's and St. whoever, you know. I mean, so they're probably not going to screw up the name of two actual saints because, you know, there was Big James and Little James. You know, one of them was the son of Zebedee and the other one was not. So, St. Mark's Cathedral, apparently that's in Vienna. They say they have the actual body of St. Mark there. The guy who wrote, you know, the gospel. They had to smuggle him out of Egypt, and how they did it is they put the body underneath a bunch of pork sausages. And when the Muslims, yeah, Siobhan, exactly. That's the name. See, you looked it up. So you see how it's spelled,
Yeah.
and then it's pronounced Siobhan, except no one in modern day Ireland is 100% sure even if that's how it's spelled or pronounced. You know, because the Irish went through that period under Cromwell when it was against the law to speak the Irish language. You could be imprisoned or worse. So, yeah, they got some wild ass names. Not as bad as the Welsh, though, who, you know, have a town that's name is so big it's like freaking. Another thing about the Welsh language is they love double L's for some reason. And like a typical Welsh name would be like Llewellyn, but it's not spelled the way you, however you think it's spelled, it's not. You know. Meanwhile, my Germanic ancestors, I mean, it's really easy to spell a German name if it's Carl You know, it's
Was that a
K-A-R-L. You know, Hans, H-A-N-Z. So, yeah. Siobhan, though. There's a girl on that Irish thing where they all get drunk all the time. And I think her name is Siobhan. She's kind of the one with the black hair. She reminds me so much of someone I dated, except the one I dated is probably more of an alcoholic than that one is. But who knows? Hopefully she's fine. But I am shading my Terminator units, my T800s.
Oh,
right.
looks like Bernie Sanders was on Joe Rogan.
Oh yeah, he got cooked.
Huh?
He got cooked.
Huh?
He started talking shit about the millionaire or the billionaire thing and the oligarch thing, and Joe Rogan ate him up.
Oh God.
He went after.
I sort of laugh at him. Bernie Sanders, the guy who took a honeymoon to Moscow and praised socialism and communism, and he comes back to the United States and he's driving a $300,000 sports car, $200,000 sports car down the street, has 5 homes or 4 homes or something like that. I'm like, gee, Bernie.
And has never had a job that wasn't government.
Yeah, I guess you're living to the ideals of
yeah, they call it the champagne socialists. There's a lot of them. But yeah, Bernie talked some shit about Elon Musk contributing however much money it was to the Trump thing. So Joe Rogan's like, and how much money was contributed to Kamala Harris? And right off the bat, you know, Bernie just started losing. He was trying to roach out, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well.
And, you know, and Joe Rogan's like, yeah, it's like, you know, Trump got X amount and she literally got like over $1 billion or something. And so pretty much, I mean, Joe Rogan, of course, was nice, but he was calling Bernie. I can fix her, right? That used to be my my standard operating procedure, Bruce. But yeah, Rogan did not let Bernie get away with shit. You know what I mean?
Good.
And the new thing, all these idiots on TikTok that are praying that Trump will die or somebody will assassinate him. And I'm sure they're all going to get a visit from Secret Service at some point. But the thing that they don't know is, well, if Trump gets assassinated, who do you think the president's going to be? Not Kamala. It's going to be Vance.
Yeah, and then what's his face? Johnson moves up to vice president.
Yeah.
They just don't get it. This is the order of succession. What? Well,
It's like, do you want Vance to be your president so bad?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I'm sure he will. As a matter of fact, if I had to bet, and I'm not a political analyst by any means, but if I had to bet, I would say in our next election cycle, whoever the Democrats pick is going to get destroyed by Vance. Absolutely destroyed. It will be the Republicans' race to lose because it's already in the bag. I mean, Trump has already got too many W's. And Vance, if anything, is a better speaker than Trump is. My favorite thing about Vance is when someone says something stupid and he kind of gives the sideways kind of smile at the camera, you know? And it's just like, yeah, you're not beating that guy. I wonder if he'll be the
hold on.
second or
Let's go back to Kamala. Even Kamala wouldn't have stood a chance against Vance because Kamala is a freaking wino drunk. She's just as bad as Nancy Pelosi. I mean, I don't know what the fuck it is with some of these Democrat leadership women. They're just like always drunk or what? Because I'm like, whoa, she's drunk. You know, she doesn't know her hand from her ass. You know,
they are literally talking about running AOC.
oh God.
But AOC's time is just about up because she's starting to put on a bunch of weight and she's getting older. And as soon as she's no longer the young Latina with the nice breasts, half the people who give a shit about her are going to stop.
Well,
it's sad to say.
I think she's got too many bodies in it, or too many secrets in the closet and coffin or whatever you want to call it. But she's made some really dumb statements before. They're gonna have to bury everything she's ever said, and the Republicans would use that as, you know, weapons against her. So
yeah. So
I mean, she just called for the impeachment of Trump, and it went exactly nowhere.
Yeah, it pretty much backfired, made the Democrats look like idiots.
I mean,
and then what's her name being like, how can the president bomb Iraq and not holler at his girl? Crockett. And it's like, it's like, you know, he does not have to call you guys to do stuff like that.
Well, here's the thing.
I mean, the war powers are firmly in the possession of Congress. But since they passed that law saying that presidents could do like police actions and all that shit, I mean,
here's my thing about this, James, is number one is that yes, we got the War Powers Act, blah 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 blah. I think the Democrats and the media are the biggest leaks this country has. If we're ever going to do anything in secret to let's say,
that's why they
I don't know, stop World War III, you know, they would tell anybody and everybody. And that's why I said that Trump, when I said way back when, if Trump got elected, I said, I'd kick everybody out of the White House. I'd kick out every single reporter. Be like, no, you're out, you're gone. What do you mean? Yeah. No, you're not sticking around. You guys can go across.
Well, he did kick Reuters out, and they tried to sue him, and they lost.
I'd kick them all out.
It turns out the president does, as the executive, have the power to kick any reporter or whatever he wants out of the White House. Manowar doesn't like the fact that Vance enjoys Magic the Gathering. Come on, man. I've still on occasion play Commander. It's not bad. Cut him a break. He's a Kentucky boy, just like me.
Well,
I think you'd like him. I mean, he was raised in Ohio, but he was born and he spent his formative years in Kentucky.
Personally, I would kick everybody out of the White House that doesn't have a security clearance, and that'd be my modus operandi. If I was the president, I'd be like, no, you're gone, and then a lot of secrets wouldn't get leaked. I'd be like, no.
That's what they're mad about, actually, is they're mad about the fact that they didn't have the ability to leak the plans, you know?
And I'd do the same thing at the Pentagon and the State Department. I'd be like, no, there's no more of these public media walking around our halls at these institutions.
I'll tell you, one of the best interviews I've ever seen was Vance and Theo Vaughn. It was like nuts. Those two, I mean, it was just nonstop hilarity.
Wow.
But anyway, yeah, so they didn't tell anybody anything. They managed to keep a secret. Someone leaked some files, which of course, you know, some papers ran wild with. And the FBI and the Department of Justice have said they are going to find out who leaked. and charged them.
Right. Well,
Now, the one guy said they're probably not looking at going at treason, but there's other things they can charge people for.
yeah.
I mean, they could charge them with treason, but they're saying they're not going to do that. I mean,
No, there's espionage. You can just go to espionage charges.
yeah, there's the Espionage Act, right?
Yeah.
And what is funny is, and not funny, haha, but funny, if it happens to be one of the guys in the Pentagon or something like that, it won't be the first guy who worked for the Pentagon who's got let go or some shit for being a shithead. I mean, Hesketh or whatever got rid of a bunch of people for being shitheads.
If I was a DIA, the Defense Intelligence Agency, I'd purposely plant somebody to give them false information and let them spew the false information like you wouldn't believe, so that the enemy is like, and then they get their head smacked in. You know what I mean? So.
They recently nailed a guy who worked in, I forget where, he is a computer analyst, and he tried to make the contact, and his whole deal was he was willing to trade military secrets, and on the long term, what he wanted was to be able to immigrate to the country in question, and live there. The country in question was Israel.
Oh.
But what he didn't know is he was talking to FBI agents.
Yeah, God.
And they strung him along for a little while, and then eventually we all saw Top Gun. Yeah. Top Gun Maverick was a great movie, actually. I'm a huge fan of that movie. But anyway, and this guy's reasoning for betraying his country was he just hates Trump. And it's like, when you work a job like that, right, you're supposed to set your personal feelings about whoever the commander-in-chief is aside. I know it might seem hard for somebody that's like an overly emotional man-child, but yeah, you set your feelings aside and you do your job. Like, that's just how it's done. And it's called professionalism, But these people, these young people, they're so emotional about every damn thing. It's like, all right, well, now you get to go to prison for 20 years. I'm sure your nerdy computer genius ass is going to have a great time in federal lockup. That'll be good. And you can, hate Trump from there, I guess. I mean, and it's like, to me, it's just so stupid. It's like, why would you destroy your entire life because you hate a guy who's only going to be around for another 3.5 years or whatever it is? It's like that thing that your mom maybe told you, because I know my mom told me, like when you're going through something bad, and it was like, this too shall pass. I don't know if your mom ever told you that, Vic, but
what was that?
Did. The whole "this too shall pass."
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. I'm gonna type in the person. There you go.
Nice. I knew that, though.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did. You told me.
No, I didn't.
Yep, you said
No,
you were
that was
working
another
on it.
person I was telling you about. So,
You said you were working on it.
but I got him. So,
That's amazing.
yep.
Hopefully, the artards will leave you alone and let you
I don't
have
give a
a
crap
good.
anymore. I don't care. I don't care. They can stand out front and do whatever they want to do.
They're not going to do anything because they're going to bitch on X,
Right.
but they're not actually going to even show up.
Well,
And if they do show up and they have a problem with a certain keynote speaker or something, I mean, it's really easy. Just don't go listen to that guy speak. Go play a game with some people. You know what I mean?
yeah. Well, I'm going to put it inside the terms of service for DaveCon. I'm working on those. That there's going to be no protesting. There's going to be no flag waving. There's not going to be any of that nonsense.
It's a sad world we live in, man.
I know
that we got to be that way, but it is what it is,
Well, it's really simple. You're coming to a convention. You're there to what? What are you at a gaming convention for?
Game.
That's it.
Have fun. Maybe go to the sell booth place and see what people got for sale.
Right. You go downstairs, grab a
Maybe
beer
even
with your favorite.
socialize with people you've met online.
Go downstairs, grab a beer, sit with people like Craig Gillespie and the rest of them, and have a drink. You know what I mean? Have a dinner and have a good time. Don't be a douche, and cause problems, because you're going to cause problems. You're going to be out the door in about 2 seconds flat. I've got I'd say about 8 or 9 guys I could call on in about 2 seconds flat and say, I need your muscle. And we'll pick you up and toss you out on the street like they used to do in the, like the Godfather. Here.
Give them the bums rush, as they
Yeah.
called it.
Yeah, that's right. I will bum rush you out. I've rented the hotel for a reason. To have a good time and not to deal with inane stupidity. You know what I mean?
It would, one thing, like, have you noticed how I've been online all this time today, and I am getting ready to get off, but we've managed not to interject too much politics into the gaming.
I don't interject any of it, and I've had people leave my group because I'm a middle of the road libertarian. I'm just like, I don't.
Yeah, so you're not even like a hardcore Trump guy.
No.
Or a hardcore whatever. Now,
admitted
though,
Vic,
a little
you
bit of
invited
politics,
Stephen Deinhardt.
if
Manowar,
the
I would
Democrats are
invite
going to
Stephen-
run anyone, they need to run that guy that sometimes is on the Gutfield show.
Yeah.
The light-skinned black guy
Oh, I can't
that's
remember.
on the 5.
Right.
Like he takes that woman with the squilly, stupid voice. He takes her place sometimes. That guy would be a good choice because he seems like an actual rational human being.
Right.
That might be able to, put over some ideas and not immediately be laughed at.
All right.
But yeah,
I gotta respond to somebody here on the feed over here. Manowar. I met Deinhardt. Not a chance. Not a stinking chance I would invite Stephen Deinhardt to my thing. And number one is I'm not paying for anything for him. Number two is he goes to Gary Con and these other cons, doesn't pay anybody anything. And he just walks around the convention and does his own thing. So he just a usurper. He just, like, oh, I know so-and-so. I know so-and-so. You used to work at TSR way back when there was 300 some odd employees. We don't care. You're nobody. You know what I mean? You've got a game that's barely functional, and
yeah, I don't even know who you're talking about.
he wrote Giant Lands. Actually, he didn't even write Giantlands. Jim Ward wrote Giantlands. Steven Deinhart was the producer with the idea, and blah 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 blah. I
Yeah,
mean,
Giantland sucked.
yeah, it was
They-
it was horrible.
They sent me a free copy, and I still feel ripped off.
Oh, it just I wouldn't. He's nothing. He's a nobody. He's he's farther down the line than the chum I would feed sharks. You know what I mean?
Did you know Professor Dungeon Master was a TSR employee?
Well, Professor Dungeon Master, I've met him. I've had him at DaveCon. He's a great guy. He's kind. He's actually someone I would want to talk to, and he's not political. He doesn't get there and get into the political nonsense. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
but I know about his politics anyway.
I don't know. I have no idea. Don't care. You know what I mean?
Yep. Dan Fabrazio.
Daggerheart. I've watched enough videos about Daggerheart to say no. I'm not going to play the game. Not when you have to use 6,000 different dice to figure out one little action. No. If I say roll the dice, add your modifiers, you know what I mean, and do your modifiers for combat, it should be 2 or 3 additions onto it, and that's it. I don't need to hear. But if I do it this way, blah 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 blah. It sounds like an algebra equation, and I got to go through it with my head. Forget it. I'm not playing that game. You know, no. I did invite.
Well, I mean, but it'll be more thematic,
Right. I did invite Kelsey D on, but she's too
and
busy.
you can tell more like meaningful stories.
Yeah. While you're
I
sitting
mean,
there,
because I read the thing and it said that.
while you're trying to use an algebra calculator to figure out what you actually did, you don't need that.
It could be worse. It could be Cyborg Commandos.
I've never played that, so
Yeah, you never could hardly.
yeah. But no, it should be simple math. It should be you roll the 20. All right, you automatically hit. I'm not even going to ask anything else. You have to roll the 20, you automatically hit, or you roll the 1. Well, you threw your weapon away.
Yeah, there's something weird with that. It's like it's a strange thing that's going on with that. I'm not 100%
Yeah.
sure. Like
They're
What-
trying to
what's
remake
that?
the wheel. They're trying to remake the wheel, is what I call it. I mean, the wheel's fine. You're just trying to remake it with, I don't know, this clunky crap around it. You know what I mean? It's like, what's the function of it with all this other nonsense? You know, this is a combat. Make a combat chart, have your people roll it, add any modifiers or demodifiers or whatever you want to call them, and be done. You know, I don't need to have a chart where I've got 16 different slots I've got to put numbers into to figure out if I hit something. So
sounds like the guy who wrote that spent some time discussing game design theory with the guy who wrote Wheel of Flame.
I never played that one either.
At first blush, it looks really, really good. But if you read the advanced rules, it will make you want to quit gaming.
Oh,
Because it's like the basic rules are basically the player tells you what they want to do. They roll their dice. If they succeed, they do it. And if they don't succeed, they don't. Simple, easy, whatever.
yes, but that keeps the game moving.
But if you want to use the advanced rules, then the players have to have a sheet. And in secret, every player puts down what they're doing for the 3 turns. And then you, as the person running the game, you got to put down what the people they're fighting are doing. And then you all reveal what you're doing. And so it can be like, I'm guarding. He's guarding too. So you sit there and stare at each other for that part and then the next part. And they even have the exact same mechanics but for social events.
Oh
Like
no,
if you go to
Oh,
court
that
and
sounds
you
like
start
Strickhaven.
arguing.
What is that stupid Strickhaven High School, whatever the hell that was for 5e? The
Yep.
prom dance bullshit, you know?
And in this one, it's like you can choose to insult, taunt, whatever, right? And
Uh,
it's like you're literally trying to win an argument in court, and you're doing it by rolling dice, and it's like, yeah, it looks like a really good game, but as soon as the guy got to combat, it's either it just starts falling apart,
okay, well let's break this down, James. To let's see here. You've got parlay, which you're going to talk to the enemy. You're going to attack. You're going to guard, and you're going to retreat. I think that's it. Am I done? Is there anything else that you could possibly do?
Well, in this game, you could high strike, feint, low strike.
That's part of attack.
I
If
mean,
you're going to
and
declare, if you're going to have a declaration time in your game, these are the things that should be done. You're going to parlay, attack, retreat, or you're going to guard yourselves. You know what I mean? So I mean,
yeah, AD&D.
yeah. I mean, I don't know anything else. I'm just trying to figure it out in my head. Anybody on the chat want to add one to that one? I mean, I can't see it all, but I can't.
I did make one change to a game I may run in the future.
What's that?
I added an advancement system to second edition Gamma World.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, it's basically very much based off of Casimir Urbanski's random. Like when you get so many points, you can either pick a thing or roll two random things.
Yeah.
And that's what you get. And of course, one of the things you could get is like an additional hit die or a bonus to hit. Actually, what's weird is if you roll like a rare one, you can get just a +1 blank bonus to hit with like everything, right?
Yeah.
Or you could roll on the chart and get one that says +1 to hit with a specific type of weapon. So, and then you can get resistances versus poison, radiation, etc. And all that does is whenever you make your mental strength or physical strength roll versus the level of the poison, if you have a bonus, you just add that to your total. So it's pretty simple.
Man, look what Manamore put up there.
Yeah, I mean, considering the group of people that they're playing with, I guess all three options are probably a thing.
You gotta make a die for that one, Manowar.
Like, I don't want to think about it too much, but
oh my god,
some of those dudes are into some wild shit. That's all I'm saying.
I like I said, I see these games are coming out and they keep getting more and more complicated, and it's like, the basics should be the basics. If you want to add complexities to the game, add those as needed. I mean, it's crazy.
Well, I watched Double D's whole thing on Dragonheart, and I mean, I don't think he was being mean, but at the end of the review, I was like, yeah, that's not a game I'd want to play, you know?
Well, I don't want to play it either. It just when I they were
Even
telling me about how you have to roll the dice. You got two different colored dice, and you got to roll blah blah blah. Does this beat this die or this die beat this one? Then you add these in, and I'm just like, my eyes are going cross-eyed. I'm just like, oh come on, just roll a d20 against the chart and just what do you get? You know what I mean? I mean, here's your intelligence. Here's your wisdom. What's the number right there? All right, there it is. You got to roll above it. All right, you succeed. Done. Bing, you're gone. You know what I mean? I mean, it was just too complicated for my and it would take too much time out of the game to watch people sit there and keep rolling dice and rolling dice and rolling dice. It's like, no, this is simple. This is not, something out of, some far-flung computer game. You know what I'm saying? So
one of my favorite things about OSC is if you on the character sheet of OSC,
yeah,
if you've got the basic character sheet that it comes with, it has a little box that says attribute checks, and then under that little box, which is under your attributes, it says, when called upon to do an attribute check, roll 1 die 20. If you get under your attribute score, you succeed.
right. So I mean,
And old school Gamma World is that too. Like, if you want to do most things, the DM decides what. Like, if you're trying to bust open a door, you use physical strength, and then you roll die 20. So,
well, I think in AD&D the rule for the busting down doors is pretty funny. The 1 die 6 or D6 when you get up to that strength. I'm just like, yeah, I don't know about that. Maybe if they had what you had, the tool to get in, you know what I mean? They had special tool to get in through a door, especially a locked door. It would be,
well, a lot of that I think is supposed to be opening a stuck door,
right.
not necessarily kicking in a big barred door with iron whatever.
Iron door with triple locks and stuff. I mean, that's what the knock spell is for. It's like, oh, I'm going to do knock. Okay. Well,
but yeah, it's like, but if the door's jammed shut due to moisture or something,
right.
the fighter rolls the die 6. Like, the fighter in my group has an 18 strength.
Yeah.
So if he needs to bust open a door, he can bust open a door on, as long as you don't roll a 6. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, though, I'm taking off.
All right. Well, tell your wife you're going to DaveCon this year.
Right. I'll talk to her.
All right.
Anyway.
All right. Have a good one, my
thank
friend.
you for hanging.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye.